Bush said his car's really struggling off the bottom in turn 4.
His visibility of his camera in the car is really dark.
They have got to make something happen. Just come out of here with anything.
Today on the Performance Racing Network, it's qualifying for the Food City 500 at Bristol Motor Speedway.
And here at Bristol Motor Speedway, the first group of cars for practice rolling out onto the racetrack. Mark Garrow with Brad Gilley, and it is a cool Saturday afternoon. Temperatures right now about 43 degrees, 48 degrees, and it will warm to hopefully 53, a high of 53 later today. But it is dry.
Yeah, it's dry. It's a beautiful day for racing here. And for the NASCAR Cup Series, a beautiful day to qualify for tomorrow's Food City 500. Before that, we practice. We have 2 sessions of 25 minutes each before we get into our qualifying, where they'll make 2 laps under the green flag to set the starting lineup for tomorrow's Food City 500. And Mark, looking at this first group, again, the qualifying order set by the metric. 70% of that is based on performance from last week. Of course, last week we saw Denny Hamlin drive into victory lane at Darlington Raceway for his 2nd consecutive win in as many weeks. He's the one that's going to go last. But right now you look, and typically you don't see people like Kyle Larson and Alex Bowman out there in the first group. But today you do, because their Darlington didn't quite go the way that they wanted it to last week.
It certainly did not. And again, as you talked about, it's unusual. They're back there with guys like Corey LaJoie, Jesse Love making his Cup Series debut, John Hunter Nemechek, Michael McDowell, Austin Dillon, guys who have had rocky starts to the season, had a rocky Darlington, and Kyle Larson usually measures up pretty well at Darlington. As a matter of fact, so does Alex Bowman.
Yeah, absolutely, and just some unfortunate circumstance put them where they were in that race and puts them where they are here in Group A. But so far, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has already turned the fastest lap. He's been out there for 4 circuits, but a sub-15-second lap, 128.082 miles per hour, 14.981 seconds. Mark, this track is just over a half mile long. You think that they actually traversed a half mile in less than 15 seconds is incredible.
It absolutely is. And when you look at qualifying a year ago, Ryan Blaney captured the pole for this race in 15.356 seconds. In the fall, Alex Bowman had the pole at 15.132. So between the cooler temperatures and the fact these guys are getting their next-gen Cup cars more and more dialed into Bristol, we're seeing the lap times again go down.
Yeah, we are. We have 2 pit reporters helping us out here today during this practice and qualifying session. We have Andrew Curlin, and the man we'll go to now, Doug Turnbull. Doug, what's happening?
And listening to Jesse Love's radio, of course, he's an Xfinity Series standout, and he's making his Cup debut this weekend. As soon as this track went green, that number 33 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet hit the high banks here, and Jesse could not hear his pit crew. They were anticipating coming down here to make a pit stop, or stop in their stall, if you will, to change out his helmet, which is something you don't want to have to do in your precious first laps of Cup. But then he started to being able to hear the team again. And guys, we saw several trucks last night with radio issues here. Seems like that issue's creeping into the Cup garage, too.
Maybe Jesse was holding his breath a little bit too long there. His first laps in a Cup car here at Bristol. And again, Stenhouse at 14.981, under 15. That's getting it.
To give you an idea of what these drivers are actually feeling out here, it looks really neat watching them go around this high-banked half mile. But I can remember drivers like Mike Skinner say, you know, unless you're almost wrecking or you are wrecking the car, you're not making a fast lap. We were in qualifying one year, Mark, and the cars came off the track and they stopped on the back straightaway. Jimmy Johnson gets out of his car, about to talk to him for our PRN broadcast, and he holds his hand up just right, you know, flat right in front of him, and it's shaking. And I said, are you nervous? And he said, no. That's literally, and I'm paraphrasing here, that's what a lap around here does to you. He was shaking running a lap here at Bristol. They're going to do it for 500 tomorrow in the Food City 500.
Years ago, Bobby Allison said it was like wrestling alligators 1,000 times, twice a lap each end of the racetrack. And of course, Sterling Marlin made the great analogy of it's like trying to fly jets in a gymnasium. It happens really, really fast here. When they come out of the corners, it's 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and before you get to 3, you're back in the corner again. You're in the corners a lot here, and you're under speed a lot as well. You barely breathe the throttle at all.
Yeah, this is nonstop. To catch you up where we are so far here on the weekend, yesterday Chandler Smith drove into victory lane, had a near perfect day at Bristol in the Weather Guard truck race. He won the first stage. He was held out all throughout the first and second stage before he came to pit road. He was the runner-up of stage number 2 and the race winner. Almost a maximum points day. Great for him. But among the storylines we came into this weekend talking about, Kyle Larson. He's running all 3 races this weekend. Could he do a weekend sweep? He fell 1 spot short of that last night, finishing runner-up in the Weather Guard truck race. Right now, he's second fastest on the track. Let's go down to Andrew Curlin.
Yeah, Tyler Reddick in group number 2. You have the luxury of watching everybody go out before you, so what are you trying to learn from these guys?
Yeah, just see what the pace is, see what their balance bike racing looks like. You know, looking at what my teammate Riley Herbst's doing out there, what he's learning, what he's fighting. So we can hopefully help him too. So just observing a lot of the driver inputs that we can through the analytics, and then kind of also see what the track continues to do. In their first 20 minutes of practice.
You said you have a bunch of teammates here. What does the debrief look like, and what are some of the things you guys had your eye on going into the weekend?
Yeah, I think just trying to get our cars down in for the bottom. Bubba had a really good feel here last fall, so just trying to pay close attention to him and what he feels. He's always been really good here. So yeah, we'll be comparing all those things post-practice. Just, again, trying to get a good idea of what the balance is in practice here for our race car.
Doug Turnbull, Tyler Reddick, he's rolling off in group number 2.
And for sure, another guy that's waiting around to see what's happening, Zane Smith, who had a good finish at Darlington. Zane, it must feel nice to get to go out and practice B, right, and see how other people are doing.
Yeah, we've been fortunate enough a lot of this year to go out in that second group, and it just allows me to, fortunately, this week, watch a teammate for one, but just analyze data and just see what the track's doing, especially in a place like Bristol, and waiting for that top to come in. Doesn't seem like it's there quite yet, but not too far out.
The only guy down here on pit road with sunglasses, Zane Smith here waiting to go out.
A moment ago you mentioned Kyle Larson, just barely, of course, not winning last night. He won the pole position for the Xfinity Series race coming up later on today, the SciAps 300, and now currently second quick. So, yeah, he didn't get the win, but he'll be heard from again at some point this weekend, today and tomorrow.
Yeah, it is. And look, Kyle Larson had a speeding penalty he recovered from. There were just sort of a lot of things that went on. And plus the fact that the one thing Larson really wanted to happen last night was to get enough laps under green to move the groove to the top. That's where he thrives. 8 cautions in the Weather Guard truck race. We just never had that momentum. We never had that longer run for him to be able to do that.
Plus, he talked after the race where NASCAR threw that late yellow for weather conditions. There was a mist basically all night long. Kyle didn't think they needed to throw it because the conditions had kind of been like that the entire time. But NASCAR, again, looking at the safety issue of it, decided to stop the race, run a few laps under yellow, make sure everything was okay, and go back at it. Kyle said later, I wished I had those laps. We had stayed green. I might have been able to get up there and challenge Chandler Smith. Chandler, however, as you talked about, near perfect race. He got almost the maximum points, but he just did such a great job, I thought, last night. You have to be aggressive at Bristol, and you have to be patient. He picked times to do both, and I think that's one of the reasons he came out on top.
I would agree. Let's go down to Andrew Curlin.
Yeah, well, guys, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. currently at the top of the board with a 14.981 lap. And, statistically, this is one of his better racetracks. A 2-time Bristol runner-up, but only 1 top 10 finish here in the last 10 races. So perhaps a little bit of a revival so far early in the weekend for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who's at the top of the board.
Great point, Andrew Curlin. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., this was always a place where he would come knowing that they were going to be good. The next-gen era, to Andrew's point, has just not been as good for him. And by the way, most of the tracks that we race at 2 times a year, we talk about we've had 6 races in the next-gen car. We've only had 4 here at Bristol. That's because 2 of those, dirt was on the racetrack. And, so now we're really getting our wheels underneath us and what happens with this race car. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the fastest right now. Kyle Larson, second quick. Brad Keselowski, third. John Hunter Nemechek, fourth. Fifth is Alex Bowman. Sixth, Noah Gragson. Justin Haley 7th. 8th is Chase Briscoe. Austin Dillon is 9th. 10th is Cole Custer.
Michael McDowell, 11th. Riley Herbst, 12th. 13th, Carson Hosevar. These are single lap runs. 14th, Corey LaJoy. Shane Van Gisbergen, 15th. Jesse Love, 16th. 17th, Ryan Priest. Josh Berry, 18th. 19th, Cody Ware. Josh Balicki in 20th. When you look at the 5-lap average, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on top, followed by Kyle Larson. But the 10-lap average, they flip-flop. Larson on top, Stenhouse second. Same thing for 15-lap average as well.
And this is Group A so far for the NASCAR Cup Series. Let's go down to Doug Turnbull.
It just heard Michael McDowell finishing up a run there in the number 71 car. He tells his crew that the car is actually loose. Now, we heard all through Xfinity practice and even the beginning of today that the cars run tight because this track has a lot of grip. Michael McDowell said it was tight, and then all of a sudden the car snapped loose, if you will. It went from one condition to the other very quickly. So it seems like these cars, y'all, are riding right on the razor's edge here, and it's really unpredictable which way it's going to go. And Andrew Curlin has an update, too.
Well, we're talking about handling. Kyle Larson just came in, and Cliff Daniels ran right over to that number 5 car from where he was watching practice, and Larson is fighting tight. This was the same problem he had last night in the truck race. These cold conditions, the car grips really well to the racetrack. So there's a fair amount of different handling race cars, but Kyle Larson fighting tight right now.
As we look at the lap count, Alex Bowman has run 34 laps to this particular point, so he has run the most laps. Shane Van Gisbergen 31, Kyle Larson 30 before he brought his car to pit lane. We also take a look at Riley Herbst having run 28 laps. And we look at some of the other guys. John Hunter Nemechek has run 25. So, again, we're in the middle portion, if you will, of our first practice here at Bristol for the Food City 500.
When it comes to maintaining your engine to run at peak performance, trust Z-Max Micro Lubricant. Z-Max soaks into metal, so it's easy to add to your oil or gas to disperse carbon buildup in your engine, fuel system, and transmission. Protect your vehicle's engine to the max with Z-Max. Check us out at zmax.com or visit us on Facebook and Twitter to find out more about our full line of products. Remember the name Z-Max for your car, big rig, small engines, firearms, and more.
As PRN go on to an ad break for the Food City 500 practice and qualifying session. Saturday watch along, you're watching on JB Motorsports here, getting ready for qualifying. The final practice ongoing at the moment. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski, your top 3. John Hunter Nemechek, Alex Bowman, top 5. And let's go back to PRN now.
Performance Racing Network.
Dale Earnhardt, he's almost been deified. There's a mystique about...
And PRN doing the thing of going back and then going immediately back to commercials. Great stuff. I forgot how the PRN and the United States radio networks work out as well. Continuing to circulate round the Bristol Motor Speedway. And let's continue with the classification. 6th, Noah Gregson. 7th, Justin Haley. 8th, Chase Briscoe. Austin Dillon, Cole Custer rounds out the top 10. Then it's Michael McDowell, Riley Herbst, Carson Hosevar, Corey LaJoy, Shane Van Gisbergen in 15th, and Jesse Love in the 33. Currently 16th. It's his Cup Series debut, is it, for Jesse Love? And then it's Ryan Priest, Josh Berry, Cody Ware, and Josh Balicki, top 20.
Cup practice and qualifying here at Bristol Motor Speedway, and the track may have gotten its first casualty here in this session as Corey LaJoy, it's his team, the number 01, and only running its 3rd race of the year for Rick Ware Racing. It clipped part of the wall. Corey LaJoy did clip part of the wall. They're checking to see if the toe link's broken. They're also checking the toe on the front and the rear of the car to make sure everything's in shape. It can be a grueling race out here, and already with these track conditions changing for these drivers, Corey LaJoy there got a little bit crossed up.
Corey back on the racetrack right now. He's heading into turn number 3, keeping his car on the bottom. I watched him driving off of pit road. He was weaving that car back and forth just to see if something was loose on it. Mark, I don't see anything really damaged on the right side. If he clipped it, maybe the right rear quarter panel. That Schluter Systems paint scheme darker on the rear of the car, and it's hard to tell if anything else on it has been clipped.
He was trying to get up to speed, but then he got up very high in between turns 3 and 4, and again shut the car down, has gone down on the apron of the racetrack and back to the pit lane. So he's trying to bring the car up to speed, didn't like what he felt.
Yeah, for sure. So he's heading back onto pit road. We'll have to wait and see. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. continues to be the fastest here in practice. Remember, these are the only laps they're going to get before they go qualifying. Single car runs coming up here in about 45 minutes or so. The Group 2 practice session will feature drivers like Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez, Ty Gibbs, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, William Byron, Christopher Bell. Basically, a lot of drivers who have a large collection of trophies as Cup Series drivers.
9 of the drivers here this weekend have been on the pole position here at Bristol Motor Speedway, led by Denny Hamlin with 4. Kyle Busch has been the pole sitter twice, once for Bell, Elliott, Larson, Eric Jones, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, and Alex Bowman.
Wow, that's a lot of drivers actually out there who can make some fast qualifying laps here at Bristol. Really interesting to see how this day is evolving, Mark. We came on the air and you brought up cold. We heard him talking down on pit road about Zane Smith wearing sunglasses. I can see why, because if we look up over the turn 1 and 2 side of the racetrack, we see clouds breaking and nice blue sky. It's really turning into just a beautiful day here in Thunder Valley.
It's interesting. Half the track still has dark clouds over it. There's no weather in those clouds. And then you look off to the right, so turn 3 and 4, a little bit of a shadow, some dark clouds over the other way, nice blue skies. I'm hoping that the weather system is moving where we're pushing blue skies and blowing these darker clouds out of the way a bit.
I would agree. Andrew Curlin, what are you hearing teams talking about?
Yeah, listening to some of the radio communications with the Team Penske cars, the 22 team, who will be rolling off in this next practice session, saying these Cup cars are not laying rubber down as well as the Xfinity and truck cars were doing. Bristol is a concrete track. When temperatures are cold on a day like today, it's harder to get the track to rubber up. So tires, we know, are very important here, but an observation that some of the teams are making.
Noah Gragson has run the most laps so far, 37. Alex Bowman, 36. Same for Shane Van Gisbergen. John Hunter Nemechek has now registered 33 laps. And so those are the top guys as far as laps run at this particular point. 5-lap average, best speeds belong to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 10-lap and 15-lap belong to Kyle Larson.
Mark, getting back to what Andrew was talking about, a year ago at Bristol Motor Speedway, we saw something very unique where the drivers went out there when the green flag dropped on the race and all of a sudden realized we can only go about 40 laps before we start seeing cords on these tires. And we had just an incredible night of racing. A lot of people thought, this is just amazing. Typically on a tank of Sunoco race fuel with the Cup cars, they can go about 170 laps. They can only do about 40 on their tires. And they said, don't change anything. We want to come back in the fall. We'll manage it. We'll set up our cars different. One thing got changed, actually, on the racetrack, other than the change of seasons, Mark, and that was in the spring last year, they used resin as a traction compound. We came back in the fall, and they went back to what was the traditional PJ1 traction compound. That basically took us back to what we've been used to seeing at Bristol, which is amazing racing as well. Problem was there were a lot of teams that came back thinking, okay, we're going to go back with a better setup than what we would have had in the spring with those conditions, but we didn't have those conditions in the fall. We had conditions like we traditionally had, and for the people who came set up for that, well, they thrived, and we all saw Kyle Larson lead 462 out of 500 laps.
Yeah, we couldn't have had two different races. In the spring, 16 different leaders, a record 54 lead changes. Then we come to the fall, and Kyle Larson lays waste, as you talked about, leading 462 of the 500 laps. So they were absolutely two different races a year ago, and everybody kind of hoping for more of the version of the first one, certainly this weekend. Even the drivers, said they enjoyed it because it really put a lot of things in their hands. Denny Hamlin said he had to fall back on his late model experience when they gave you one set of tires to go out there and run a 100, 150 lap race, and you had to find a way to not only nurse them to the end, but have something left to battle for the win if you had that chance.
Yeah, this weekend the track is treated 4 feet at the bottom with PJ1, but hearing what drivers are saying now based on Andrew Kurland's listening in on the Team Penske cars and their observation, that was one thing we did hear back in the spring, that the track wasn't taking in rubber, and he's absolutely right. That is a temperature-sensitive thing when it comes to concrete. We did have cooler temperatures back in the spring. Tomorrow's forecasted high is right around 60 degrees. That's about 10 degrees warmer than what we have here today here at Bristol, so I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how things change between today and tomorrow. Andrew, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, the Team Penske cars, they seem to be on top of it with the observations. They just came back on the radio, this time Blaney's team, saying if you get off the bottom at all, it seems to be pretty treacherous. So right now, a one-groove racetrack here at Bristol, but we'll see if that slowly merges up towards the higher groove, especially tomorrow, Doug, as we see the race go on.
Yeah, for sure. I'm also hearing about the lack of rubber adhering to the racetrack on the 77 team radio of sophomore driver Carson Hocevar. But here's something, in a 25-minute practice session, they've also got an engine issue too. They're redoing the engine mapping on that Chevrolet, and they're hoping to actually go back out here with under 4 minutes to go and run one more lap. So how you do all that in such a short time, I don't know. Carson Hocevar also really diagnosing his race car, saying that when it gets off of the PJ1, he really loses grip. Big surprise. So it's all about trying to find that right stripe and that right line around the track.
Hocevar, to this point, has run 30 laps in this practice session.
Yeah, you can see the engine tuners right there in the right-hand window of Carson Hocevar's car right now. And the way they do that, they plug in the computer, they change the mapping for the ECU with that McLaren injection system that they have, and they make those changes. So we'll see if they can get back out there. We have 3 minutes and 25 seconds left for Group 1 practice here at Bristol Motor Speedway. And already interesting to see the way the story is starting to be told for this Food City 500 in just this first practice session. Not sure if we're going to see much more of those Penske drivers. They're going to go out in group number 2, Mark, and maybe they'll find something a little bit different now that some cars have been out there on the racetrack.
As a reminder, no one saw what happened coming a year ago. Everything seemed kind of normal in practice and qualifying, and then everything went different on Sunday. So again, this is a adaptive process for these teams right now, and they don't quite know where the end is going to be.
Yeah, for sure. And conditions from day to day can be different, and all of those things. A few cars still on the track. We see Michael McDowell out there. Ryan Preece, who has just had an amazing year. Darlington didn't finish the way it needed to, but he had 3 consecutive top 10s leading to that. Won the outside pole at Darlington Raceway. Ryan Preece comes to Bristol Motor Speedway, Mark, as a driver who has won in NASCAR here at the world's fastest half mile. Did it for Joe Gibbs Racing in an Xfinity race, and it was also a Dash for Cash race where he claimed a $100,000 prize as well.
He loves this racetrack. He talked about that at Darlington. Likes the on throttle, and especially he said when you drive a modified here, you're on the throttle, just practically foot in the floorboard the whole way. And so this racetrack really kind of fits Ryan Preece's style. And we were told in the preseason things are going to be different for Ryan Preece. He's going to a team with RFK Racing, led by Brad Keselowski, that's really going to kind of embrace him and really put the people around him to be successful. And we thought, wow, that'd be nice if that actually happened. Well, that's exactly what's happened. He's really gotten off to a nice start. He's top 16 in the points. And I don't think the season, other than, of course, wanting to go to victory lane and maybe have some better finishes, I think if they could look into a crystal ball and say, look, this is what your first 8 races are going to look like, he'd take it.
Yeah, for sure. Derek Finley, he and his crew chief have just clicked with Ryan Preece and Derek Finley together. It's been great. 14th in the standings, to your point, in what you're talking about. Carson Hocevar is back on the track right now. He's 13th among the 20 drivers who have gone out, and we'll see if maybe he can turn some faster lap times. His last lap of 15.9. This lap was 16.049, so not necessarily faster, but maybe they're going to learn a little bit of something. They've got 55 seconds left before that black and red flag fly to signify the end of Group 1 practice for the NASCAR Cup Series.
Watching the in-car camera view of Carson Hocevar, seems pretty comfortable in the car, not wrestling it a whole lot, and now he's going to kind of back off the gas, head to pit lane.
Yeah, he might want a car that he can wrestle. He might need something that's got a little more underneath him to see what he can wrestle. We have 30 seconds left in practice, but all the cars have pulled onto pit road. Ryan Preece and Carson Hocevar being the last two. So it looks like for Group 1, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. will lead, followed by Kyle Larson, second quick, Brad Keselowski third, John Hunter Nemechek fourth, Alex Bowman fifth, sixth Noah Gragson, seventh Justin Haley, Chase Briscoe eighth, ninth Austin Dillon, and Cole Custer 10th.
11th, as far as the fastest lap, Michael McDowell. 12th, Riley Herbst. Carson Hocevar, 13th. 14th, Corey LaJoie. 15th, Shane Van Gisbergen. 16th, Jesse Love. Ryan Preece, 17th. 18th, Josh Berry. Cody Ware, 19th. 20th, Josh Balicki. And we'll have a break now. We'll get to that second group of cars in just a moment.
From fueling NASCAR champions on the track for over 20 years to innovating 94 octane, the highest octane on the market. Performance is what Sunoco does. All Sunoco fuel at the pump meets the same top-tier standards as the fuel used in NASCAR. From the track to your tank, you can trust Sunoco to help your vehicle perform at its peak.
Get ready, race fans. NASCAR is back in Music City with a new name, the Cracker Barrel 400. Guitars, fast cars, and the comfort of Cracker Barrel's country hospitality. May 30th through June 1st. The action kicks off Friday night at Nashville Superspeedway with the Rackley Roofing 200. Then the Tennessee Lottery 250 on Saturday. And Sunday night, NASCAR's top stars under the lights in the Cracker Barrel 400. Get your tickets now at NashvilleSuperspeedway.com.
You're listening to practice and Cup qualifying coverage for the Food City 500 from Bristol Motor Speedway. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Here's Christopher Bell.
My Toyota Camry TRD race car isn't cheap to build and prepare. I have a pit crew that maintains and fixes my equipment. I have a spotter high above the track watching my back, talking me through turns and potential dangers on the track. I physically train to handle the stress of driving. And I have software helping my crew chief and engineers make the right strategy calls. And with all this, I never take my eyes off the road, and neither should you. One distraction can change everything in one instant.
Welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway. Group 2 practice about to begin shortly here at the world's fastest half mile. After that, we'll have qualifying. They'll get 2 laps under the green flag. The fastest will win the pole, and the slowest will start from the rear of the field. 39 cars are here today. Mark, a big announcement, a race about 3 hours away coming up at the beginning of June, and that is now the Cracker Barrel 400 at Nashville Superspeedway. Really thrilled. The Cracker Barrel, actually a Lebanon, Tennessee company, is going to be sponsoring the racetrack, which sits right there in Lebanon, Tennessee with Nashville Superspeedway. And they've been just a long-time supporter of the sport, and I think the sport's been a long-time supporter of theirs. At least I know I have.
I was just in there the other night, did a volleyball game. Me and my down ref went over and had the Wednesday night special was the chicken and cheddar. So that was really good.
Nice. One of the things that I can tell you with Easter weekend coming up next week, you can go to Cracker Barrel. They will take care of your Easter dinner, and you can go get it picked up and just have some wonderful down-home country food.
What I like about Cracker Barrel, breakfast all day. If you walk in there, at 10 o'clock at night, I just feel like breakfast, or 9 o'clock, whenever, that you can have breakfast. So I'm all into that.
Yeah, Cracker Barrel 400 weekend, the first weekend of June 2025. Let's go down to Doug Turnbull.
And here with Josh Berry. Josh, not high on the speed charts, but that's not the story. Is we see some major cording here on one of your tires. What were you feeling on the track, and does the tire look like what you were feeling?
Yeah, for the most part. You know, we fired off and was pretty loose balance-wise, more than we expected, so we really didn't run that much, come in and tighten it up, and probably overshot it a little bit, but really both tires are really close to cording. So there's a lot of marbles out there. It looks a lot like the spring.
Well, how does it feel to you behind the wheel when the tire starts cording?
Yeah, it just loses a lot of grip, right? There's just less. You're running on fabric, not as much rubber, so just less rubber on the track or on the tire. So you just lose a lot of grip pretty fast. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to see how the conditions will change. Right now even the sun's peeking out a little bit, and how it will be different tomorrow. But like I said, it definitely looks like the track's not taking rubber, so it's really just going to be a game about keeping the tires on it if it's like that tomorrow.
It's going to be a tire management race, it looks like here, as Josh Berry's got some work to do, Andrew Kurland.
Yeah, Doug, what Josh Berry just said there, the race fan in me is excited because he said it's similar to the spring, and that was when all the tires were falling apart. And the scanners have been fun to listen to so far. A lot of shades of 1 year ago with the marble buildup on the top groove. We just saw cleaning vehicles working towards the wall, cleaning up already a bunch of marbles after only 25 minutes of practice. Now, something to note, the sun is out now. So how much does temperature come into play when it comes to these tires falling apart, Doug?
And standing here with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. from one side of the speed charts to the other, Andrew. And Ricky's got the Sunny D colors right as the sunshine comes out. Ricky, I think you were fast at cloud cover here. So, number one, what's that number 47 Chevy like? And secondly, how does the sun change what you were feeling just a moment ago?
Yeah, probably change a decent amount. We'll just pay attention to what happens here. Maybe our Sunny D Camaro being fast brought the sun out. So all the fans are welcome for that. Warmed it up a little bit. But I would say overall our car felt really good in practice. It was fast and obviously got a little bit of tire wear there, so we'll have to pay attention to that, see if it gets better throughout this next practice session. We'll go look at some of our other Chevy partners and see how that goes. But right now, our right rear's corded, the 42 next to us, their right front's corded, so at least it's not just a us problem. It looks like a lot of people have that issue, but so far so good.
I just spoke to Josh Berry, and he said that it had characteristics of last spring. Is that what you were feeling too?
Yeah, for sure. It was super cold when we started that practice. A lot of cloud coverage. Obviously, the sun's out now, so we'll see if it changes this practice session or not.
Appreciate it. Well, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. led Group A practice.
Thank you very much, Doug and Andrew. And I think the key here, we're about to find out, Mark. The sun's shining. I don't want to get too far ahead of the story because I could see with cold temperatures, cloud cover, and all of that, maybe experiencing the same thing. Now we're about to have something completely different because even though this is a lighter colored surface with it being concrete, the sun shining on it will heat up the racetrack and will change the characteristics of those Goodyear tires. And all of this also has to do with crew chief setup. They're the ones that can fail the tires.
Absolutely. It's an evolution of we're going to see weather conditions changing. We're going to see chassis setups changing here throughout this practice. And, of course, we got qualifying later today. And, again, we don't know how this plays out till tomorrow. I mean, what we had last year, we're fine. On practice and qualifying day, and then things certainly popped up pretty hard on race day. Let's go back down to Andrew Kurland.
Kyle Larson was P2 on the board in that first session. Tires seem to be the talk of the town. So what did you observe in that practice session?
Yeah, a lot like the spring so far of last year. But, I think things could still change for tomorrow. I hear it's supposed to be a decent amount warmer, and that usually affects things, I think, for this, tire that we have here at Bristol. So, I don't know. But if things are normal, I feel like my race car is really good. And then, I think even if things are like the spring, I think my car is good. It's got a good balance, and just can manage it. You're there in practice, you're pushing hard, so it's easy to kind of blow through the tires. But, I think our car is in a good spot, so I look forward to the rest of the weekend.
There was a question to how much the resin played in last year with the tires acting the way they did. PJ1 on the track now. So you mentioned temperature. It's going to be warmer tomorrow. Is that what you guys are thinking? It's a little bit more of a temperature-related problem?
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I do think that the PJ1 that is on the bottom is completely wore off at this point. I know it's stained kind of, but so I think it's more similar like the spring right now. So if they respray tomorrow, it could change some things and how the tire reacts to it. So we'll see. But yeah, we're ready for whatever.
Kyle Larson ready for whatever, Doug.
Another Californian looking to make his Cup debut here. He will make it on Sunday. Just had your first laps in a Cup car, Jesse Love, and I'm sure that was tough. Even the most veteran drivers in this sports are really having to manhandle these race cars. What was it like for you in that 33 ride?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Obviously, trying to get up to speed the first few laps, kind of feel everything out. Everybody talks about, like, you really can't get sideways or else you'll lose it, but honestly, I felt like once I got going there, I felt really comfortable. I was having a lot of fun and really enjoyed it. So still some obviously things to get better at. I knew that coming in here, but honestly, I felt pretty happy with it. So got to go through the rest of the race and keep trying to learn and get the car a little bit better. Our adjustments didn't make me feel better about my entry, so we'll fix that.
They got a lot to fix here, but Jesse Love, comfortable. Can you believe that, Andrew Curlin? His first time in a Cup car on this treacherous track.
That is impressive for Jesse Love. Chase Briscoe, you were just looking at the tires that came off your race car. What were your observations?
Yeah, it's kind of reminiscent of last year. This cordon tires, I mean, ours weren't corded crazy bad, but they're definitely cording and wearing out like crazy. So, yeah, it's definitely odd. You know, the fall race, no issues, and the spring race has just been a thing. I don't know if it's temperature related or what, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if that turns into that tomorrow like we had last spring or not. But yeah, I don't really know what we got, to be honest with you.
You don't know what you got, but if the tires do react like they did last year, is that fun for you as a driver?
Yeah, it's fun because you feel like you definitely have a little more to dictate what happens, right? How hard you go, how easy you go. So, yeah, it definitely is interesting. It's fun because it is so different than what we normally do. So, yeah, I don't know if it's going to turn into that tomorrow, but definitely there's a chance after practice, I'd say.
Certainly a chance. That's what Chase Briscoe is saying, guys.
So the second group of cars on the racetrack right now, in that group, Eric Jones, Ty Dillon, Daniel Suarez, A.J. Allmendinger, Bubba Wallace, Todd Gilliland, Zane Smith, Ty Gibbs, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano.
Yeah, to name a few: Austin Cindric, Ross Chastain, Chris Buescher, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, William Byron, and Denny Hamlin, who is going for 3 in a row on the NASCAR schedule, the defending winner of the Food City 500.
Interesting how he won his races, right? Dominate one, a little bit lucky on the other, which he talked about being lucky. We're not making a statement that it's our belief. It was his belief as well. But that's what happens when your team is running well and you're running up front. Sometimes you're going to dominate and go to victory lane, and sometimes you get one thrown in your lap.
Yeah, you've got to be prepared to win, and they were prepared to win for sure. Although, you know, we could steal a phrase from Denny Hamlin and say he backed into one at Darlington, but really it was anything but. That team is just simply good, and they were poised and ready to go. You talk about performance on the track, but you talk about performance on pit road as well. These are races. They're not fastest car contests. The fastest car contest happens here in just a short while when we qualify. The race is totally different, and that pit crew won Darlington for Denny Hamlin.
Absolutely, and it's always about who gets there first, not how they got there, just that they get there first.
Yeah, you know what I think is interesting as well? You look at Christopher Bell, who won 3 in a row earlier this year. He won Atlanta, Circuit of the Americas, and Phoenix. Well, going into that third race, he was the defending winner at Phoenix Raceway. Like, it wasn't a big stretch to say Christopher Bell's going to be good at Phoenix. Everything has to come together for him to win, just like I think for Denny Hamlin. Look, he's won 2 races so far, Martinsville and Darlington Raceway. He won here last year. He also won the night race in 2023 when he beat everyone's favorite driver. It's not a stretch if you're going to say, yeah, Denny Hamlin can win 3 in a row. That's not going out on a limb. That's actually some pretty good intel on what we might see here tomorrow potentially.
Again, if you go to the fantasy racing sites or the betting sites, Denny Hamlin's going to be one of the go-to guys when you come to Bristol, whether he's won 2 in a row coming into this race or not. And when I see races like Darlington, obviously the pit crew did a great job. But sometimes it just comes back to you, right? How many times did Denny Hamlin finish a runner-up and lose a heartbreaker in one way or another? You know, running out of fuel or getting a late caution. And in this business, if you stay in it long enough, what goes around comes around.
Absolutely. Look, he's lost plenty of races that way. He's won some races that way. Whenever you have 56 trips to victory lane as a NASCAR Cup driver, there is probably about every single way possible. Look, I don't believe in coulda, woulda, shoulda. I don't. Either you did or you didn't. If I was ever going to say that there was a race that there was a coulda, woulda, shoulda, it was Nashville last year for Denny Hamlin. Dominant driver at the end, 5 overtime restarts, and he just didn't have the fuel to be able to stretch. Joey Logano did, and Denny Hamlin came up short in that one. But, you know, that's just the way it goes. There was a long time where you could have looked at Bristol and said, man, if a track owed Denny Hamlin, it was Bristol Motor Speedway. I don't know that anyone owes you anything. You go out there and earn it, and he's done it 56 times now in his career.
It is pretty incredible, and I think, you know, we talk about Mark Martin. You know, one of the best, never to have won a championship. I think Denny Hamlin has kind of risen to the top of that list right now because he's done everything else. 56 wins. By the time he hangs it up, he'll be somewhere in the top 10. Kevin Harvick is 4 wins away in the 10th position at 60. So Denny Hamlin is going to creep into that top 10. At some point, he's going to work his way past Kevin Harvick. That's an incredible career. It's a Hall of Fame career already for Denny Hamlin. And it would be, if everything in life was fair, at some point in the next season or two, Denny would get that championship.
Yeah, I do feel that he is capable of catching and passing Kevin Harvick. But capable in reality, well, only history is going to tell that here by the end of his career. Right now, Denny Hamlin overall is 7th out of all of the drivers in the Cup Series. We see a scoreboard now, not just as Group B, but as the whole. So Ricky Stenhouse Jr. from Group 1 is the fastest. Group 2, Ryan Blaney is the fastest, but he's 2nd quick overall. Austin Cindric in Group 2, he's 3rd quick. From Group 1, Kyle Larson 4th quick. From Group 2, Chase Elliott 5th quick. From Group 1, Brad Keselowski 6th quick. From Group 2, Denny Hamlin 7th quick. That's where we sit with the cars on the racetrack right now.
And again, Stenhouse, the only driver sub 15, but Blaney pretty close at 15.041. And again, the speeds, if it remains the same, the pole speed will again drop for the 3rd race in a row here at Bristol.
That would be pretty incredible. Sub 15-second laps were just at a time unheard of to be able to do here at this half-mile racetrack, and now it's happening. Now my curiosity, Mark, as we're watching the cars out there on the track, just to continue to pay off this story about what the conditions are, it's still cold here, so temperature is a real thing. 49 degrees at least what it says on my watch right now that is measured by the outside temperature. But the sun is shining on the track. So far, as we are only about 7 minutes into this practice session, all the cars are still staying on the bottom. We'll see if the track heats up and if that actually changes and they get to move up.
You were talking about speeds there a moment ago. The qualifying record here at Bristol belongs to Chase Elliott, August 2019, 14.568. Folks, again, we're talking about getting around a half-mile track. 14.568, 131.713.
Hard to believe. Other than an all-star race, Chase Elliott has not won here at Bristol. Let's go down to Doug Turnbull.
Been listening to drivers all up and down my section of pit road. Todd Gilliland just got on the radio and said it feels like his front tires are not on the ground. Now, I am no mechanic, but I believe that's not good. And in fact, it's not. I believe he's 34th on the chart right now, the combined practice streams of Group 1 and 2. And Todd Gilliland said that basically when he gets back on the gas, that's when he has no front drive there. And so also really tough to contend with that. His teammate Zane Smith, who observed practice 1, also is out there on the track and says absolutely no grip. Now, we were hearing how much grip there was when the track was cool. Now they're talking about how little grip there is with the sun out.
Watching the cars now, they are absolutely hugging the yellow line, both in turns 1 and 2, and then, of course, 3 and 4 as well. Every once in a while, a driver will venture up 1/2 groove just to see if there's anything there, and they quickly drop right back to the bottom.
Well, here's another thing to talk about. Let's just say the track is heating up with the sunshine, all right? The first thing that's going to heat up is the PJ1. The PJ1 is only 4 feet from the yellow line at the bottom of the racetrack up. That means you only have your left side tires. So if the first thing that heats up is the PJ1 and it gets activated, you're going to stay there. You're going to keep your tires there. As rubber gets driven into the racetrack from the right side tires, now maybe you start to find more grip higher up the racetrack. We're just not there at this point, and I'm not sure that we're going to get there in a 25-minute session. We have 16 minutes left here in Group 2 practice. The next thing that'll happen after is qualifying. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. still the fastest overall. Ryan Blaney second quick. He's in Group 2 here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Hey, this is Michael Walter for Echo Park Automotive, and I'm here to tell you why you should shop Echo Park before you buy a car, truck, or SUV. Over half the inventory at Echo Park is priced below $25,000. And car for car, truck for truck, Echo Park Automotive's pricing is $3,000 less than the competition. Maybe that's why Echo Park has over 100,000 five-star reviews. Echo Park Automotive is built to make sure everyone drives away happy. It's even in their name, Echo Park Automotive. Every car, happy owner. The official used car dealer of Speedway Motorsports.
Hi, it's PRN's Brad Gilley. Did you know you could take PRN with you anywhere? That's right. By downloading the PRN mobile app, you can listen to our live race broadcast from anywhere. Make sure you don't miss a second of the action from the track. Download today for station listings and on-demand access to your favorite studio shows like Fast Talk, The Pit Reporters, or Garage Pass. Get all the latest racing information at your fingertips with the PRN mobile app. Download today, available in the Apple App Store and on Google Play.
Practice for Group 2 happening here at Bristol Motor Speedway. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
It's hard to believe in this day and age in the United States of America that children are hungry.
Our time on this planet is short. We have to give back to those in need.
Every child has a chance, no matter what obstacles they may encounter.
Never have we been taxed more as a society to help kids the way we are right now.
Speedway Children's Charities raises money through several different avenues. My favorite is the Gala.
It's one of those can't-miss events for everybody who attends, and I've been able to raise and distribute over $60 million.
When you have 50 different organizations receiving grants from Speedway Children's Charities, that's far-reaching, and some people think, well, I don't have much money to give. I say $50 is a lot to give.
At Speedway Children's Charities,
our mission is simple. Help every child we can.
Because all children
deserve joy
and hope
and love. And if one child is still in need,
then there's still work to do.
Back here at Bristol Motor Speedway for practice and qualifying in the Cup Series. Group number 2 currently out on the track. And right before break, we were talking about the effects of PJ1. They asked Chris Buescher, how does the track feel so far? He says the track feels very green, and the PJ1 has a minimal effect. Kyle Larson said the same thing. So there's a good chance this PJ1 is not doing what NASCAR intended it to do, and it doesn't seem very strong at the moment.
Or as somebody conjectured earlier today, it's wore off from the truck race.
Great point. It takes heat to activate PJ1. It is 49 degrees here at Bristol. It looks beautiful and sunshiny. Mark and I are behind glass. Doug Turnbull and Andrew Curlin are out there in the elements. But it takes heat. That heat can come from the race cars running in it. We only have half the field out there, or the possibility of a maximum of half the field out there right now. Mark, one interesting observation. I've been watching every single car. They're parked on the front stretch pit road here at Bristol. They're backed in at an angle which is pointed toward turn 1. So when a car comes on a pit road, it rolls just past its pit stall, and then the crew members and the driver, they back it in there at an angle. Once those cars stop, just about every single one of them, as they go to back it in, you can see Daniel Suarez in front of us. There is smoke coming off of the front tires of those race cars, and it's a lot of smoke coming off the front tires. This is how hard they're being worked. You look at Denny Hamlin up there toward the turn 1 side, Mark. You can see the same thing with his progressive Toyota Camry.
It is interesting to watch that right now, and it certainly got the crews a little bit curious as to what is going on right there. This racetrack, even under the best conditions, tests everything in your race car. I mean, it puts a race car through some severe punishment. These guys spend a lot of time trying to build the durability into these race cars, and they have to ramp it up just a little bit for Bristol.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Interestingly here, even though Ryan Blaney is second quick and he's in Group 2, Austin Cindric third quick in Group 2, Chase Elliott fifth quick from Group 2, Denny Hamlin seventh quick from Group 2. Our 10-lap average, Mark, is all Group 1. All Group 1, our 15-lap average, all Group 1. And that cloud cover really helped add just a little bit of speed to this racetrack in that first group practice session.
And we kind of would expect that. The big question is, what is that going to add to the tire wear? Is it going to be better in the sun? Not so much when the weather is a little bit cooler and it is overcast. And again, this concrete, under these temperature conditions, seems to be very, very temperamental when you add the tires to the process.
It does. Looking down at Ty Gibbs' Toyota Camry XSE, you can see the rubber on the ground, and this is what we saw here last year. It's a little more powdery as opposed to, say, bubble gum, if that makes sense. But that's what the rubber coming off of these cars looks like, more of a powder than it does a bubble gum. Let's go down to Doug Turnbull.
And to that point, I heard Carson Hocevar saying as Group 1 wrapped up that it felt like they were running around under caution the way the tire debris just spread around and picked up on their tires as opposed to sticking to the track. Now, an update on Daniel Suarez. He said to his team the car starts loose, gets tight, and it's extremely unpredictable, and that shows that his practice showing here where he's only 28th fastest. Also heard Todd Gilliland, who I talked about earlier, had absolutely zero front grip. Now he says he's turning really well, exiting turns 1 and 2, has that grip, but he still can't make it handle turns 3 and 4, and that's kind of a mystery to me, considering that it's pretty much identical on both sides of the track. How is it one side it differs from the other? I guess, as Gilliland is saying, what Suarez is saying is true. It really is unpredictable.
Yeah, and actually, if you look overhead at Bristol, turn 1 and 2 is much tighter in a radius than turns 3 and 4. So the opposite ends of the racetrack are actually quite different. You can see that from an overhead shot, Mark, and you hear drivers talking about really the differences, and we could see it last night in the Craftsman Truck Series race. You'd see one side, the cars on the bottom, or the trucks rather. You'd see another side whenever they could, working the higher groove of the racetrack.
And in this practice, nobody has even attempted to make a middle groove. I saw Chris Buescher a couple of times move up to where his left sides were where his right sides were, just kind of tiptoeing out there a little bit to see if there was anything there to work with, and completely jump right back to the railroad tracks that we have currently down there in 1 and 2, 3 and 4, where you see clearly two rubber marks and that little space down the middle, of course, where there's no rubber touching the road.
Yeah, admire the crew chiefs and the engineers, because tonight they've got their work cut out for them. They're experiencing one set of conditions today. Tomorrow, 10 degrees warmer here at Bristol, and that can make all the difference in the world. When we came back after that spring race last year in the fall, you had about half the teams set their cars up for the conditions that we had in the spring, but with a much better setup that would give them more longevity out of the tires. You had other teams say, you know what, we think this track is going to go back to what it's been. And they thrived on something like that. Cliff Daniels and Kyle Larson obviously did after leading 462 of 500 laps in the Food City 500 last year. It was really a big discrepancy between the teams who happened to get it and the teams who didn't. And I think that's going to be what is going to keep crew chiefs and engineers up late tonight.
They will be burning the midnight oil. There's certainly no doubt about that. And again, the other thing that the big major players have, they all have war rooms back at their headquarters, and they'll be working overtime as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. So again, when we look at a 15-lap average, Kyle Larson was fastest, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Alex Bowman, Noah Gregson, John Hunter Nemechek. All of those cars were in group number 1. When we look at overall speed, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. from group 1 fastest, but Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric from group 2, second, third on the speed chart. You mentioned this earlier, Mark. The only driver that we have in practice who has gone sub 15 seconds is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That was his second lap that he made on the track out of the 32 that he went out there for practice.
So looking at the lap count right now, we're trying to figure out some of the guys who've run a bunch of laps in this race. And right now, I think top cars run 47. So they've got the laps in, but it is all absolutely on the bottom. I mean, nobody is absolutely experimenting at all with anything else.
Yeah, that was Cole Custer who went out there for 47 laps. Justin Haley, Ryan Preece, Daniel Suarez, Denny Hamlin have all been out for 41 laps right now. They've got an opportunity, at least Daniel Suarez and Denny Hamlin, to put some more laps on their car as we have 6 minutes left here in this practice session. And, for Hamlin, won 2 in a row now. Martinsville and Darlington Raceway, the defending winner of the Food City 500. But now with a new crew chief in Chris Gale. Last year it was Chris Gabehart. Gabehart obviously has a major influence in what happens, as he is now the competition director at Joe Gibbs Racing. But Hamlin just went out there and made 41 laps pretty much.
Again, a little bit of a tweak at Joe Gibbs Racing, and apparently it's paying off dividends, right? 5 wins in the opening 8 races. Right now they kind of lead the show.
The last win in 2024 for JGR was halfway through the season, race 18 in Loudon, New Hampshire, a race that was run in part under wet weather conditions. Christopher Bell thrived and drove into victory lane. He had other opportunities to get to victory lane. It didn't happen. Denny Hamlin had at least one other big opportunity to get to victory lane, that Nashville race, which, by the way, also had rain as an element to it, but Hamlin was the one that was leading before we had 5 overtime restarts in that race. But they just never executed that win in the second half, and for the very first time, Joe Gibbs Racing also did not put a car in the Championship 4 race.
As you think about it, we had some historic races last year. You had the overtime deal at Nashville. At New Hampshire, they put on rain tires to wind up finishing the race on the wet weather tire. It was dark. It was, you could barely see, and Christopher Bell's flying around the racetrack like he's in a 410 sprint.
It was pretty awesome to see. Andrew Curlin, what do you know down there about those tires?
Yeah, we're seeing some major cording issues in the Hendrick pits. Byron had cording on the right front after only 31 laps. Same issue for Chase Elliott after 35 laps. So it seems like we're finding our limit as to how long these tires can go here at Bristol.
Mark, how many laps last year were they able to go before they had to come in and pit? Do you remember?
It was maybe 40, 45, something like that.
How many laps has Denny Hamlin gone, and now he's parked in his pit?
41.
41 laps.
You think there's something going on there?
I think there might be a correlation. Again, when you hear PJ1 on the racetrack, when you come back for a fall race that was more normal Bristol conditions, what do you think? Well, let's come back here, set up for what we had in the fall conditions-wise, but now we have 49-degree temperatures. I think that thermometer might be the tipping point between being able to go 41 laps or 170 laps on a set of these tires.
So, again, as you look at this race, and I'm trying to find my note on it, Goodyear, 9 sets for the race. 1 for qualifying, which you have on the car when you start, then you have 8 in the pits. 8 times 40 is 320. Then another set is 380.
Last year they gave him an extra set mid-race.
420.
If you remember. So
just trying to do the math.
Doug Turnbull, what do you know?
Yeah, well, y'all are figuring out the math. I'm doing what I can do is look at tires here. Just like Andrew Curlin talked about in the Hendrick camp, it's been a handful on the Trackhouse side. None of their cars performed well in these practice sessions. Looking at Daniel Suarez's tires, I mentioned a moment ago how unpredictable he said the car is. I see cording on the inside of the right front tire here. He ran 41 laps in that session. That was that magic number you talked about with Denny Hamlin, 41 laps. I'm also watching Ross Chastain, who is in practice 1, compare notes with Daniel Suarez. Both of them were making steering wheel motions where it was turned all the way around in their hands, basically all crossed up. And I saw Ross doing some demonstration with how his feet were on the pedals. And unfortunately there, it doesn't look like they have too much good that's going on there for this Trackhouse team. Again, cording for Daniel Suarez.
One of the fun things, Mark, is it's really loud here at Bristol. This is Thunder Valley, but whenever you watch a conversation, you don't have to hear to know what they're talking about when drivers start twisting their arms around and trying to describe to a crew chief what they're feeling on the racetrack.
They start at 10-2, but that's not where it ends, right? So we'll have to see how this all plays out. I think it'll make the race fascinating if we have the same kind of deal as we had a year ago. And one thing to emphasize, the drivers, nobody has any problem with the tires whatsoever that Goodyear has brought to this racetrack. This is a weather-related, looks like a weather-related, at least partially related kind of deal. And the drivers last year felt like, okay, if this tire is going to be running out in 50 laps or less, then we have to have a better chassis setup and we have to take better care of that tire during the run.
Yeah, there's a minute left in practice here, only a couple of cars on the track. Part of the reason is this is what Goodyear's tire sheet has. One set for practice. If they've already corded that set, they cannot go out there and make any more laps. One set for qualifying. They have 9 fresh sets of tires for the race, plus the one set that they use in qualifying. So they'll start the race with one set of tires. Then in their pit box, they're going to have 8 fresh sets, plus the one set that they had for qualifying, which is going to be a 2-lap scuff set of tires. Last year, they had just enough here to give them one extra set of tires, and it was a mad scramble. Once they got all of those tires mounted, and NASCAR finally released them, and it was getting down to the wire of when they were going to need a pit again, they finally said, okay, we're going to release the tires to the teams, and then you saw a bunch of tire carriers with their dollies full of sets of tires running back to their pits to get the air pressure set and get them ready to go on the race car.
We talked about earlier about how important Denny Hamlin's pit crew was a week ago in winning at Darlington. If this race turns into a situation where you're getting 50 laps or so from the tires, pit crews are going to come into play in a big way tomorrow in the Food City 500. Take a break. Come right back to Thunder Valley.
Hey, Joey Logano here, the driver of the number 22 Hunt Brothers Pizza Ford Mustang. What can a 3-time champion do by the end of this ad? A pit stop and grabbing a hunk of pizza at the closest convenience store near you. To find a location, visit huntbrotherspizza.com.
By downloading the free PRN mobile app, you can listen to all of our live race broadcast anywhere. You'll also have easy access to all of our award-winning studio shows. Get all the latest racing information at your fingertips with the PRN mobile app.
It's not about the cars, the speed, the action. It's not about the party or the long weekend. It's about them, the ones that gave everything. This Memorial Day weekend, we honor the fallen at America's Home for Racing. The 66th running of the Coca-Cola 600.
We'll give you a full rundown of who was fast and who was not as fast in practice here at Bristol Motor Speedway as we get set for qualifying. Coming up next, this is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Everything's bigger in Texas, including the racing action.
Now one car in the wall. It's Christopher Bell. Hits it hard. Everybody else scrambles to avoid trouble at Texas. Caution is out. Turn number 2. It is Josh Berry. He gets sideways, slides up against the outside wall. McDowell loses it. Big time. The field coming right at him. McDowell tries to hold on to the race car. Everybody scrambles to get out of the way.
It's the Worth 400 from Texas Motor Speedway. Sunday, May 4th at 2:30 Eastern on PRN. Saturday, May 3rd.
Start your engine!
The NASCAR Xfinity Series heads to Texas Motor Speedway.
A love tap in turn 2. A love tap in turn 3. Custer doing all he can to take that number 1 spot away from Mayer. They draw even again in turn 1.
Ryan Sieg moving all over the racetrack. Upside, downside, trying to block Justin Allgaier.
It's the Andy's Frozen Custard 300. Saturday, May 3rd at 1:30 Eastern on the Performance Racing Network.
Welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway. We are about to have qualifying for the NASCAR Cup Series Food City 500. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network. We'll give you a rundown of what the practice speeds were as soon as we hear from the Melon Man with our own Doug Turnbull.
That's correct here. I've been watching the last several minutes. Ross Chastain talking to teammates Shane Van Gisbergen and Daniel Suarez. I think, Ross, if I'm correct, all of you all are outside the top 25 or so in the standings. I've been watching a lot of hand motions, okay? Can you tell me what these mean and what you were feeling in practice 1 versus what they were in 2?
means we're bad. Goodness gracious, that was not fun for our Busch Light Chevy. Just missed the balance. We're sliding the front tires, and I'm looking at Daniel's right front tire. There's cords hanging out underneath the rubber. We've went through the rubber that we race on, and we're down into the texture of the tire and all the fabric. And I ran less laps, and mine's even worse. So we definitely missed it. Shane was the same way in the first practice. This tire combination with the spring race, this is 2 years in a row now, we've missed it big time. We're good in the fall when it's warmer, but, man, Busch Light Flannel Chevy, not fun. And that was a lot of driving motions of describing how we were trying to clean our tires and what we were doing behind the wheel.
I saw some pedal motions, too, there, trying to modulate the throttle maybe and get it to handle better.
Yeah, not a lot of modulation. I'm off the throttle. I am not going very fast.
I got you. Well, Ross, thanks for being generous with your time both here and last night in the booth during our truck race.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Doug Turnbull. And if you're anywhere near the Tri-Cities area, I would recommend you go to BristolMotorspeedway.com and get tickets right now for tomorrow's Food City 500. Last year's race was incredibly memorable, and it sounds like we are shaping up for another great one here tomorrow. In practice, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was the fastest. Ryan Blaney was second quick. Third was Austin Cindric. Kyle Larson was fourth. Fifth was Chase Elliott. Sixth, Brad Keselowski. Seventh, Denny Hamlin. Kyle Busch was eighth. Ninth was John Hunter Nemechek. 10th was Alex Bowman.
Noah Gregson 11th, 12th Justin Haley, Chase Briscoe 13th, Austin Dillon 14th, 15th Cole Custer, Joey Logano ran the 16th fastest lap, Michael McDowell 17th, 18th Tyler Reddick, Ty Gibbs 19th, 20th A.J. Allmendinger.
Bubba Wallace, 21st, quick. 22nd, Christopher Bell. Riley Herbst was 23rd. Zane Smith, 24th. 25th was Carson Hocevar. Eric Jones, 26th. Corey LaJoie, 27th. 28th was Daniel Suarez. Chris Buescher, 29th. 30th, Shane Van Gisbergen.
Then Jesse Love, 31st. Ross Chastain, 32nd. 33rd, Ryan Preece. Todd Gilliland, 34th. 35th, William Byron. Wow, way down the list. Josh Berry, 36th. 37th, Cody Ware. Josh Bilicki, 38th. 39th, Ty Dillon.
Let's go down to Andrew Curlin.
Yeah, and Joey Logano made 135-lap run here at Bristol. What were your observations from it?
The tires don't last much longer than that. There's a little bit left on it, but not much. Not enough to feel comfortable going back out with it. So, it seems like it's spring Bristol of last year. So, at least today. Tomorrow it could be different. I think everyone doesn't have their head completely wrapped around what is causing it. Obviously, temperature is probably the number one concern of everyone's thinking. But either way, we'll control what we can control and adapt to the situation that's ahead of us.
You said it's going to be warmer tomorrow, and that's where a lot of teams either hit it or they missed it last year. So what is the conversation like today, debriefing, and how do you prepare for those different temperatures than what you saw today?
Well, first we got to try to put this thing on the pin, and we'll decide on what we think tomorrow will bring as a group, not just the 22, but as long as with Team Penske teammates as well. And see if we can put our heads together and understand what can happen and how we'll handle it, and go from there. So either way, I'd say at least that run, the speed in the Shell Penzo Mustang was really fast on the long run. Didn't fire off good, but at long haul was good. So I don't know if we'll get many long hauls tomorrow, but time will tell.
Well, Joey Logano, he's going to basically go from there, see what happens. But first, he's going to qualify, guys.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Great interview there with Joey Logano. We will come back with qualifying for the Food City 500 from Bristol Motor Speedway.
Hey, folks, it's Doug Rice. Did you know you can take PRN with you anywhere? By downloading the PRN mobile app, you can listen to our live races just about any place on the planet, and you will not miss a second of the action. Plus, you can hear our shows like the fantastic editions of Fast Talk, plus Brett McMillan on the Pit Reporters and Mark Garrow with Garage Pass. Get all the latest racing information right at your fingertips. The PRN mobile app, available at the Apple App Store and on Google Play.
Drivers, start your engines!
Atlanta Motor Speedway is built for battles, high speeds, tight packs, dramatic finishes.
Crossover move! They're 3 wide for the lead!
But you've never seen Atlanta Motor Speedway like this, under the lights, where every moment feels bigger. Experience the Quaker State 400, available at Walmart Saturday, June 28th. Under the lights in Atlanta. Get your tickets now at AtlantaMotorspeedway.com.
One of the pivotal races in the playoffs will come at Las Vegas Motor Speedway this fall, and in Las Vegas, pedal to the metal is all we know, on or off the racetrack. Whether you're there for NASCAR, live music, incredible restaurants, or world-class entertainment, Vegas is the town that never slows down. With so many ways to play and so much to explore, Las Vegas encourages you to go all out. Head to visitlasvegas.com for more. Josh Bilicki, Corey LaJoie, and making his Cup debut, Jesse Love will be the first cars to go out to qualify when we come back. From Bristol Motor Speedway, this is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Anytime you get somebody at the front of the pack who's not used to running up there and who's not been there, the established names are going to scream. They're going to cry. They're going to whine. Oh, there's somebody else coming up here to get my trophy and get my money. It's Carson Hocevar. What's he doing up here? He had just as much right to get in there and force the issue, and if not for the caution, he's a race winner.
Hey, this is Doug Rice of the Performance Racing Network. That's Fast Talk right here on PRN.
Local radio brings people together like never before.
It's a beautiful hometown weekend out there. We've got
your local stations keep you informed and involved with music, talk shows, and real-time news updates you can trust. We are live and local. We are America's broadcasters, connecting you to what matters most. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress to support your local radio stations.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Back at Bristol Motor Speedway, where Cup practice is wrapped up with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. the fastest, and qualifying is now underway with Josh Bilicki about to take to the track. I'm here with Eric Jones, who practiced in the second session here. And Eric, the talk has been tires. What did you see on your 43 car with your tires?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of wear. You know, looks similar to last spring here, so kind of tough to know what it's going to do tomorrow. It's going to do the same thing or not, but yeah, it's tough. You know, you don't really build your car around that, so it makes it challenging, but we'll see kind of what happens here tomorrow and play it as it goes.
And that wear wasn't lane sensitive, was it? It was bottom and top, right?
Yeah, I was only on the bottom, but yeah, I was wearing a lot down there, you know, 30, 40 laps. Kind of all we had for most guys, so yeah, a lot of wear.
More questions and answers here for Eric Jones of the 43 team.
Now the first car on the racetrack, Josh Bilicki, just clocked in at 117.372, 16.348 on the stopwatch. And, of course, we will be around 15 seconds flat for the guys who will be up front.
Yeah, it looks like Josh Bilicki had his hands full there. Went into turn number one. Normally we talk about someone diamonding a corner. When they go in low, they run up toward the wall, then they turn it right back down to the bottom line. Well, he went in low and tried to stay low, but it didn't work out for him in 1 and 2. But right now, Corey LaJoie, an announcement with Rick Ware Racing, Schluter Systems, who is a longtime sponsor of Corey LaJoie, not only will be with Corey for a few races, he's only running a part-time schedule in Cup, but will also be with Rick Ware's NHRA Top Fuel drag racing team as well. So, heck, you come back to Thunder Valley, you go to a 4-wide Nationals at Charlotte next week, you might actually see a Schluter Top Fuel dragster as well.
Orange is fast. Orange is race car.
Is that the faster color?
Oh, yeah. A.J. Foyt orange? Yeah.
Oh, all right. I can't argue with
Rick
you there.
Mears yellow, A.J. Foyt orange back when I was growing up. Yep. Fast.
All right. I like that. I'll take that. So Corey LaJoie now goes to the top. Sub 16 seconds. He's at 15.641, 122 miles per hour. Next driver on the track for Richard Childress Racing, Mark, making his Cup Series debut here at Bristol.
Jesse Love working his way around the racetrack, about to take the green flag and hustle off on his qualifying run. And a lot of big things in store for Jesse Love. The folks at RCR very high on him, obviously. I think that perhaps he can challenge for the Xfinity Series championship and one day move up full-time to Cup.
Hey, he already threw out the first shot with the win in the season opening race at Daytona International Speedway. He'll try and pick up another one later on today in the SciAps 300. PRN goes on the air at 4:30 Eastern time for that race.
15.137. Jesse Love, that is a really good lap. Obviously, that easily beats Corey LaJoie at 15.6 and 16.3 for Josh Bilicki. But overall, 15 1:37. That's pretty sporty.
I'm actually pretty happy if I'm Jesse Love with a 15.1 second lap.
I would be very happy with that.
Yeah.
I would, really.
14.9 was the fastest in practice earlier from Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Las Vegas, Nevada native Riley Herbst is on the track now. The rookie driver now with 23:11 racing. And for Riley Herbst, really just kind of trying to find his way as a rookie in the Cup Series. He won the season finale Xfinity Series race at Phoenix last year. And as a rookie driver, it takes laps. They say it takes about 100 races before you can plan on going to victory lane. I don't know that this is going to be the one based on the way it looks like his car is handling.
So far, Riley, his best qualifying effort this year is eighth. Where did I just lost it. There it is. 18th at Phoenix. His average 27.5. So qualifying has been a bit of a issue, and they've certainly been working on that.
Boy, that first lap, though, he did get a lot out of it. 15.2 is good enough for second quick so far for Riley Herbst, is now a former multi-time winner at Bristol Motor Speedway, is going out. Brad Keselowski, it has just simply been a rough year for him, sitting 31st in the standings right now. And last week they had the wheel nut come off of the race car. That was a really tough day for him at Darlington after having a fast car. And all it takes is 1 week. It would just take 1 week in a trip to victory lane to turn everything around for them, but they need to turn something around, Mark.
And it has to start in qualifying. His average qualifying starting position, 24.4 in the opening races, has started top 10 only one time. You've got to be near the front to kind of help make things happen during a race, and so far that has been certainly a problem for Keselowski, but 15.098 at this point puts him on top of the board.
Yeah, he has a great shot at it here at Bristol, and this is a track that he knows, and he knows so well, and we'll see what he can do. Josh Berry, already a winner this year. He won at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the Pennzoil 400. His first career victory in the NASCAR Cup Series, the 101st win for Wood Brothers Racing. Struggling mightily here today in his home state of Tennessee. But again, Josh Berry, he is a short track racer. He is a man who knows how to find a way to make it happen.
And again, great at tire management. I mean, if this race turns into a tire management race, this is right down the wheelhouse for Josh Berry. Berry goes to the top, 15.058. And again, we're beginning to flirt to dive underneath that 15-second threshold.
Interesting. Whatever adjustments crew chiefs are able to make to at least find a 2-lap speed here, boy, they found something for Josh Berry, because that is oh so close to that magic 15-second mark, just over it right now.
And he had such a good opening lap, again, trying to save everything he can. He basically shut it down halfway through the second lap and didn't really try to do much there.
Yeah, you know what? Miles Stanley, a very smart crew chief, and he was a longtime team engineer for Todd Gordon. Championship run with Joey Logano, the title they won in 2018, and Miles Stanley has already helped Josh Berry put that car in victory lane with that Vegas win. Carson Hocevar is another driver who's had speed this year but has had execution trouble. They just haven't been getting the finishes that their speed would dictate. Hoping to turn that around here today at Bristol Motor Speedway with his Spire Motorsports Chevrolet. Now, Hocevar goes up to the top, 15.019 seconds for the number 77.
I think it's a pretty good bet. We are going to go sub-15 now if these guys in the back that are in basically that Group B or that first group, I think we're going to see sub-14. We're going to be in the 14-second range here before too long. Let's go back down to Doug Turnbull.
All right, standing here with Brad Keselowski, who's looking at the leaderboard, and Brad, I'm sure, studying the lines of what other drivers are doing there on the Colossus screen. You were top 5 in practice. How did qualifying feel?
Yeah, I mean, it felt pretty similar to how we were in practice. Just trying to make pace, and the track's changing so much every lap of every car, just trying to be the best I can.
Do you prefer the sunshine or the cloudy? Do you prefer the sunshine or the clouds when you're out there?
Right now, the clouds for sure for qualifying, yes.
Sure. All right. Andrew Curlin's got another driver here as Brad Keselowski likes what he's got.
Walking with Todd Gillen and his bright yellow number 34 Ford here at Bristol. What's the key to laying down a fast lap at this racetrack?
Well, if you got any tips, let me know. I'm not very good at it, so I don't know. We're going to give it our all. I think it's just a circle, right? So you got to get in with a lot of speed, especially here at Bristol. You have to be able to roll the middle. Apex in the corner, in my opinion, and then commit back to the gas and get a good run down the straightaway. So said, it's just another circle. The tires are definitely wearing out, probably more so like last spring than anything we've seen. So we'll see, and qualifying is going to be very important.
We will certainly see. Todd Gilliland getting ready to roll off here at Bristol, guys.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Doug. On the track right now, he already won the pole for the Xfinity Series race. Let's see what he can do. The most recent winner here at Bristol Motor Speedway, Kyle Larson, takes the green flag, sails his car off into turn number 1, right there hugging the yellow line on the racetrack. Came up one spot shy of a win last night in the Craftsman Truck Series Weather Guard Truck Race. And for Kyle Larson, lap number 1 under green puts him to the top. First driver under 15 seconds, 14.931. Cliff Daniels is going to keep him on the track for a second lap, Mark.
Here's Larson working his way through turns 3 and 4, slides up the racetrack just a bit at the exit of 4, and will his second lap not be quite as quick, but he's still sub-15 second lap as well at 14.986.
All right, there. That is great. Actually, 14.931, the fastest lap. The second lap was a little slower, but Alex Bowman might have something to say about that as well. Mark rattled off a nice list of names of different drivers who have won poles here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Let's see if this ally number 48 of Alex Bowman can pick up another one. He takes the green flag and sails it off into 1.
And right now, Bowman working his way out of turn 2. And as he works his way back around again, trying to unseat teammate Kyle Larson at 14.931. Here's Bowman across the stripe. His lap will be even faster, 14.912, lap 1 for Alex Bowman.
And he'll go for a second lap. They give him 2 laps on short tracks. A lot of times the second lap is quicker. This one won't be. Alex Bowman took a real shallow entry into turn number 3. That washed him up the racetrack, and he knew that there was no reason to continue to push that. So right now, Alex Bowman, the fastest in qualifying after 10 cars, followed by Kyle Larson, Carson Hocevar, Josh Berry, and Brad Keselowski, your top 5.
Progressive knows there are 2 things RV owners love: to travel and relax. And they like to take both nice and slow. Just like this commercial. And what's more relaxing than the peace of mind knowing their RV is protected by Progressive? Now here comes the fast part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates.
Get ready, race fans. NASCAR is back in Music City with a new name, the Cracker Barrel 400. Guitars, fast cars, and the comfort of Cracker Barrel's country hospitality. May 30th through June 1st. The action kicks off Friday night at Nashville Super Speedway with the Rackley Roofing 200. Then the Tennessee Lottery 250 on Saturday. And Sunday night, NASCAR's top stars under the lights in the Cracker Barrel 400. Get your tickets now at NashvilleSuperspeedway.com.
For 3 decades, Racing Electronics has been the #1 choice for scanners, headsets, and all race communication needs. So Racing Electronics provides the ultimate fan experience for the ultimate NASCAR fan. Stop by and see them in the vendor area to purchase yours today or learn more at racingelectronics.com. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Whether it's skating around the racetrack on a set of rollerblades or turning laps in a Legends car, join J.C. Fickenshire on J.C.'s Garage.
All it takes is one win, and that one win can completely clear the driver's mind. I could even see it happening if Todd Gilliland wins a race or Noah Gragson wins a race, Zane Smith wins a race. These guys are guys who are just searching for one win, one chance.
J.C.'s Garage, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Hey, it's Charlie and Debbie, along with NASCAR legend Kyle Petty, inviting you to join us for Kyle Petty's Back Then Again Country Countdown.
Each week, we'll put it in reverse and take a trip down memory lane, looking back at that week's top 20 country songs from years past.
We'll dive into what made those songs and artists move the needle, what pop culture trends made those years unique.
And you'll get to hear me tell stories only I can tell.
So don't miss Kyle Petty's Back Then Again Country Countdown right here each week.
Back here at Bristol Motor Speedway, John Hunter Nemechek completing his lap during qualifying, and standing here with Denny Hamlin, who won this iconic tire race a year ago. So what did you learn from practice, and what are you looking to accomplish in qualifying?
Yeah, it seemed very similar to what we had last spring, not last fall. So it certainly could be a factor in how the race plays out tomorrow. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting for sure. There's a lot of rubber here in the pit lane, a lot up on the top and none at the bottom. So it's a very fluid situation. We're going to play it as we go and play as it lies.
You're attempting to go 3 in a row, the first time in your career. How much added pressure or motivation is there to this weekend?
Certainly motivation, but I'm motivated to win every week. If it happens to be 3 in a row, that'd be awesome, something I've never done. So certainly I come here with a renewed optimism to try to accomplish something that I haven't before.
Denny Hamlin looking to have a career opportunity going 3 in a row. He's never done that, Doug.
And look, we're trying to get a 2-for-1 special here. I'll go with second on the charts first, Kyle Larson. Kyle, how do you turn a quick lap when also managing tire wear in qualifying?
Well, you're not really worried about tire wear in qualifying, so you're just trying to piece together, honestly, like a smooth lap, and usually that's worth some speed, I feel like. So, yeah, my HinderCars.com Chevy felt really good there. So, yeah, Alex was able to go a beat better, and hopefully it hangs on. You just don't really know going out early. You just hopeful that hangs on.
Hoping it hangs on. And since I have Alex Bowman, who's fast in the chart, that was Kyle Larson. Alex, what did your lap feel like, and what was the decision to try to take a second lap, too?
Yeah, my first lap, I felt like I might have underdrove the entries a little bit and kind of got myself tight trying to make up for it on exit. And then the second lap, I overdrove the entry to 3 and slid the right rear quite a bit, so just bailed on that. But, I feel like this place typically gets faster as qualifying goes. Hopefully it ends up okay, but I love tire wear races, so I am stoked for tomorrow with our Ally Camaro, and hopefully we can end up pretty good.
Alex Bowman talking positively about tomorrow with first on the charts right now, 14.912 seconds, Andrew.
Yeah, and Christopher Bell has 14 poles in the next-gen car. That's the most of all drivers. So what's the key to get the pole in the Cup Series?
Well, I don't know. It's changed a lot this year with the single round, and frankly, we haven't qualified that good. We had that one pole at Martinsville earlier in the year, but other than that, we've been struggling to get a handle on it. I don't know why that is, but it's springtime here at Martinsville, or at Bristol, and it looks like we're going to have another repeat of last year.
A repeat of last year. You have finished in the top 10 the last 4 races at Bristol, but you haven't won. So how do you get to victory lane?
Yeah, we've been so close, and I feel like whenever the track gets up to the top, the 20 car does really well, and we're normally in the hunt. So last spring, whenever it became the tire race, we weren't as good as what I wanted to be, and yeah, just trying to really utilize this practice session because I think it's really telling for what's going to happen tomorrow.
We're going to see what Christopher Bell can do in qualifying. Maybe he can get that 15th pole in the next gen car.
So updating you now, we've had 14 drivers take a time. Alex Bowman currently number 1, followed by Kyle Larson. Carson Hocevar 3rd, Justin Haley 4th. 5th is going to be Josh Berry. 6th, Michael McDowell. Then Brad Keselowski 7th, Jesse Love 8th, 9th, Riley Herbst, John Hunter Nemechek in 10th.
And then it's Cole Custer, Cody Ware, Corey LaJoie, and Josh Bilicki rounding out the top 14. Austin Dillon on the track right now. Here's a driver who knows how to find speed here at Bristol. The question is, what did they come set up for? Last spring's race or last fall's? We'll find out here as he's taking his first green flag lap. Mark, where does Austin show up?
He is currently 8th at 15.099. And at this point, we've got 2 drivers. Two drivers just under the 15-second threshold. Austin Dillon had to jump out of the gas just a bit on lap number 2, so he's currently number 8 in the running order.
Yeah, so we'll see how things go. Up next to head out onto the racetrack is Chase Briscoe, a driver who's had a really interesting year. Won the pole for the season-opening Daytona 500, finished 4th, ended up having a 100-point penalty that under appeal they got the 100 points back. Chase Briscoe's had some good days. He's had a couple of bad days, but that team has kept its head up. His crew chief, James Small, with Martin Truex Jr. the past several seasons, have brought some of the fastest cars here to Bristol.
And he, of course, you talked about the pole at Daytona, also Homestead. 3 times he started in the top 10. Average starting position 14.6. I know he's not happy with that, but that's not too bad.
Not bad at all, considering he's with the new team and a new crew chief, Chase Briscoe, right now. Good enough for 7th quick, a 15.088. He'll stay on the gas. He will take that second lap as he dives it down into turn number 3. Hugs the bottom yellow line of the racetrack, looks at the checkered flag. Lap number 2 for Chase Briscoe. It will be faster, but he will not move up in position. 7th quick, 15.170 for the driver out of Mitchell, Indiana. Now, the fastest driver from practice is going to go right after the one who's on the track right now. And we see the number 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen. And while he's out on the track, let's go down to Andrew Curlin.
Austin Cindric watching everyone take their single car runs. They're wearing a jacket right now. It's a chillier day, but how does that feel in the race car, the temperatures today?
Ask the tires how they're feeling. It's looking a lot like last spring. So obviously some fast lap times right now, and gonna go put in a good one for tomorrow, get a good pit stall.
500 laps around this place is intense, and then you add the tires into that. How difficult is tomorrow you think it's gonna be?
Hope I have enough sets of tires to make it 500 laps.
All right, that's it. Austin Cindric hoping he has enough sets of tires. It seems to be a concern on here on pit road.
So Shane Van Gisbergen has just clocked in 15th quickest out of the first 17 drivers, so he's certainly not going to be happy with that. He was 6th at COTA. After that, really not much more to talk about with Shane Van Gisbergen this year. It's been a struggle. 7 finishes, 20th or worse, 5 of those 31st or worse. It's been a rough start to the year for SVG.
Yeah, if I'm Shane Van Gisbergen, I'm thinking learn as much as I can on the ovals, and boy, can I not wait for Mexico City, Sonoma Raceway, Chicago Street Course, and Watkins Glen. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has his Sunny D Chevrolet out on the racetrack. He was the fastest in single lap speed, 2nd quick in 15-lap average. So for Stenhouse, lap number 1 in qualifying, 2nd quick, 14.925, wedged right between Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson. And they will be one and done. Mike Kelly tells them, shut it down. We're good enough for 2nd quick right now.
Save every lap you can. If you didn't get the pole on the opening lap, it's probably not going to happen on the second one, so let's save a lap.
Boy, you got that right.
You never know what that one lap might mean.
That is a great point. Noah Gregson's visited Victory Lane on the roof here at Bristol Motor Speedway before. He did that in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Had probably about a 30-minute celebration with the race fans before actually driving the car into Victory Lane. And now with his number 4 Ford Mustang over at Front Row Motorsports, we'll see what he can do here on the racetrack. Looks like he's having a little bit of a struggle in 1 and 2. Mark, sometimes a struggle to our eyes could actually be fast on the speed chart, or maybe not.
Yeah, sometimes you look at a smooth lap, boy, that looked great. It turned out to be slow because every car looks great when it's not really up to a competitive speed. And then sometimes, a guy's over the edge, but he somehow brings it back home. Looks crazy, but it looks great when the look at the stopwatch.
Yeah, Noah Gregson, first lap, 13th quick. Second lap is actually not going to be better, a 15.301, 13th quick so far for Noah Gregson as we go down to Andrew Curlin.
Here with Ryan Blaney on pit road, getting ready to qualify. How do you get your head straight when it comes to qualifying here at Bristol? Seems like it's an intense lap.
Yeah, it's a really intense lap. It's just under 15 seconds of holding your breath, I feel like, and then you do another lap again. So, and it's a huge difference of like race pace to qualifying pace. So, it's quick here. Obviously, it being a little bit colder, it makes it even faster. But see if we can lay down a lap. It looks like kind of get one shot at it. It looks like the first lap's been the best for most guys. So you better hope you hit that one lap pretty good and see what we got.
It seems like the sun's coming out, then there's a little bit of cloud cover. How much of a difference does that simple change of cloud cover versus sun make on the racetrack?
Yeah, I think it makes a little bit of a difference. I think the cloud cover coming over is, going to pick up a little bit on the racetrack, but it's still kind of back and forth right now. You never know what you're going to get. And, it's a pretty small place, but I feel like concrete's pretty sensitive to, heat, sunshine, shade. So you just hope, at least I hope we get a cloud. That got to be nice, and we'll see, though.
Ryan Blaney, he's praying for a little bit of cloud cover by the time that number 12 car hits the racetrack, guys.
Yeah, Ryan Priest, the last one to go out here. He was from group number 1. He goes out 13th quick. Alex Bowman, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kyle Larson, Carson Hocevar, Justin Haley, your top 5 here at Bristol.
We work hard to keep our cars looking great on the outside, but engine components need our attention too. That's where you can trust Z-Max Micro Lubricant to disperse carbon buildup in your engine and fuel system, to keep your car or truck running at its peak. By soaking into the metal of your engine, Z-Max Micro Lubricant improves performance, extends engine life, and reduces emissions. Trust the many customers who've said, "Thanks for saving my engine." Find out more at zmax.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
Hi, I'm PRN's Alexis Eric. Want to listen to PRN anywhere you go? By downloading the PRN mobile app, you can listen to live race broadcasts and have on-demand access to your favorite shows like Fast Talk, Pit Reporters, Garage Pass, and PRN's Pass the Track. Download today to make sure you don't miss any of the action. Get the latest racing information at your fingertips with the PRN mobile app, available on Apple App Store and Google Play. Find more information at goprn.com.
Halfway through qualifying for the Food City 500 here at Bristol Motor Speedway. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Hi, this is Brett McMillan. If you want a show with no limits on opinions, join us each week for the Pit Reporters.
It proves that these guys are of the elite motorsports level. Being able to win the way that he did, I think means even more, that there weren't any fenders being put to anybody. And for those guys to show what they can do, to race cleanly, on a road course, they've certainly proved what they can do.
We're starting to see the top competitors become top road course racers.
Join us each week for the Pit Reporters.
It's not about the cars, the speed, the action. It's not about the party or the long weekend. It's about them, the ones that gave everything. This Memorial Day weekend, we honor the fallen at America's Home for Racing. The 66th running of the Coca-Cola 600.
Qualifying continues for the Food City 500 here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Eric Jones on the track right now for Legacy Motor Club with his number 43 Toyota. His first lap, 17th quick, 15.431 seconds. He goes for a second lap. Not sure how much quicker he's going to be, if at all, and he actually jumps up quite a few spots. Goes up to 13th now at a 15.274. So far, 3 drivers under 14 seconds, Alex Bowman, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Kyle Larson, as we go down to Doug Turnbull.
All right, standing here with William Byron, who's flared out of the kind of old Jeff Gordon Exalta colors on his Chevrolet. Hey, William, we heard there might have been some cording in the Hendrick camp during practice. What was your car feeling like there when you were practicing?
Like this spring, I think everybody was struggling with tire wear, so just try to get that a little bit better for tomorrow and see where the pace goes. But right now just focus on getting a good marks on the first lap here, because I think that's going to be important.
Well, William Byron's definitely got some good data with both Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson in the top 3 here deep into qualifying.
Ty Dillon was, I believe, the slowest driver in practice. He just ran a speed that put him 7th in the running order. So Ty Dillon pulls one out of the hat here in qualifying, 7th quick now, and this is after 22 cars have qualified.
His best time in practice earlier, Mark, 16.697. His qualifying best time, 15.074. So a 15.6 to a 15.0. That's a big jump between practice and qualifying.
That's not a jump. That's a leap. That is a major leap. Alex Bowman currently on top. He was the 10th driver out. And again, we're 22 deep, so 12 drivers have taken a shot and have not been able to knock Alex Bowman off the top spot.
Trackhouse has struggled here today at Bristol Motor Speedway. The fastest among the Trackhouse drivers is on the Speedway right now. That would be Daniel Suarez. So Suarez makes his first timed lap, and let's see what he does. He goes up to 13th quick, a 15.204. He's going to keep it out there on the racetrack, and let's see if Daniel Suarez can maybe find a little bit extra, maybe something to help his other teammate who has yet to qualify, Ross Chastain. And lap number 2 for Suarez is actually quicker, but he does not improve on the scoreboard of 15.311. Let's see, Shane Van Gisbergen is 21st right now, Suarez 13th, and Ross Chastain still has yet to go. About 8 more cars for him.
A moment ago, we talked to William Byron. Going into this race, he has the best average starting position at 7.6, and among the drivers with the best average starting position here early in the season, number 2, Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace at number 3, Tyler Reddick, his teammate, number 4. Then it's Austin Cindric, Chris Buescher, Chase Elliott. They're the top 7 average starting position here coming into Bristol.
You know, when you say that, I hear a lot of drivers who are also fast at Bristol.
Yes. Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. Although earlier today, William Byron was one of those struggling drivers. He was 35th in overall speed. That's a big shock, actually, coming from there. A.J. Allmendinger goes out. He goes to 4th quick, just over 15 seconds, a 15.002 for A.J. Allmendinger. This is another team at Kaulig Racing who's had a nice little start to the season, Mark, part of that One Welcome program with Richard Childress Racing.
I feel like they're starting to find some of the magic they had in 2023 when he ran full-time on the Cup Series. And it was really starting to come together for that team when they decided to move A.J. back full-time to the Xfinity Series. So I think they're about to find their groove again. Allmendinger can get it done. He's a winner, has always been a winner no matter what he's driven.
Yeah, I would agree with you. All right, here comes Bubba Wallace. Mark just talked about him, one of the best qualifying averages so far this season. Will that continue? Right now he is 15th quick at a 15.2. Wallace is going to take a second lap in his U.S. Air Force Toyota Camry XSE for 2311 Racing. He's nice and smooth through 3 and 4, but Mark, is Smooth fast today?
He moves up to 14th, so a little bit quicker on that second lap, but a little bit of a wiggle there at the exit of turn 4 certainly cost him just a bit.
Ty Dillon said he left something on the table after that P7 qualifying lap.
Okay.
All right. Well, take what's on the table, stick it in your back pocket, bring it into the race car with you tomorrow for the Food City 500. On the track right now, Todd Gilliland and his number 34 at Front Row Motorsports. He talked to our pit reporters earlier. I'm not sure what he feels about what he's going to have, but we've seen a lot of surprises here, Mark.
I don't think he feels he has much. He didn't sound very confident. We'll have to see what the electronic timing will tell us. Lap number 1, 21st out of 26 cars. So he was right.
He was right, yes.
He was right.
Yeah, when Todd Gilliland says it, you better believe it. It's the second lap here for Gilliland. We'll see if he can find a little bit more speed. Sun is shining on the track for these qualifying laps right now. He moves up 2 spots to 19th quick, just behind Ryan Preece and just ahead of teammate Noah Gregson. Zane Smith also with Front Row, still waiting to see him go out. Mark, has he gone? He is on the track right now. So another Front Row car. We'll see what Zane Smith has. Feel like he's been one of the better drivers in qualifying this year, and let's see what he can do here as we go down to Doug Turnbull.
All right, I saw A.J. Allmendinger during practice. He was frustrated, but A.J., you're 4th on the charts now. I saw you fist bumping your team. Your teammate Ty Dillon's also in the top 10 right now. What did that feel like compared to practice?
Yeah. Practice was interesting because I honestly thought the first 5 laps of practice, our Grizzly Nicotine pouch of Chevy was really good. I was like, okay, and then we were getting checked up there, and I would try to fire back off, and it all went to hell, honestly, and it never came back. So I was pretty lost after practice. Trent did a good job there. I probably could have trusted a little bit more in qualifying, but, I mean, we only ran like 8 to 10 laps of practice, and hell, my last lap I thought I crashed, so it was driver had a little bit more to get there, but I was just proud of the team because I was, as you tried to get an interview with me, I was pretty frustrated after practice, just not really knowing what happened.
Well, yeah, but then you go qualifying. What changed? Did they make a big adjustment?
Well, you made some adjustments, but we got to still figure out what may be the issue. So we'll go back to it and figure out race trim, but at least it shows we got speed. So we just got to figure out. It's going to be tricky. The tires are falling apart pretty quick. It's going to be, I think, one of those spring races last year.
Well, that's what a lot of fans are rooting for. Maybe not the drivers. A.J. Allmendinger, the top 10 guys. And Brad and Mark, you said earlier, the crew chief's going to have a lot of homework tonight.
Zane Smith, 13th. Ty Gibbs, however, just jumped up to the 4th spot. He is under 15 seconds, 14.964 for the monster Toyota. And Gibbs, second lap, just a tick over 15 seconds. So Ty Gibbs, who has yet to qualify top 10 this season and has an average starting position of 21.5, maybe today's the day he starts top 10 and gets it going.
Hey, it'd be nice to back up your first top 10 finish. That 9th place he had at Darlington last weekend, if he can have a top 10 starting spot. Has a great chance at it, by the way, as qualifying is winding down. We actually have just over 10 cars to go, and Kyle Busch is on the track now.
You know, Ty Gibbs is trending in the right direction. Last 3 races have all been a steady improvement in the finishing position. As you talked about, got that first top 10 at Darlington, and he had a very rough second half of 2024 and a rough start to 25. So hopefully this is part of the turnaround.
Yeah, he started out this season running over a car, Justin Haley, at Bowman Gray Stadium in the Clash, and it wasn't much better. But I think what impressed a lot of people was Martinsville Speedway.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Here is Kyle Busch. He is spinning out of turn 4 and does about a half spin, does not catch the outside wall. It now moves down on the bottom of the racetrack, does not catch the inside wall. He has flat spotted the tires, but has not dented the fenders on that Cheddar's Chevrolet.
All right, so the good and the bad. The good, that was lap number 2, and he is 12th quick right now. The bad, the teams have 9 sets of tires plus the 1 set they carry over from qualifying. He just flat spotted that set.
They won't like that set.
They are at a tire deficit right now before the Food City 500. I would highly doubt that this would be one where Randall Burnett can go to Goodyear or NASCAR rather and say, hey, we flat spotted a set. Can we have another one? Because right now they're at a tire deficit. That would put them at a tire advantage.
Look at Kyle Busch. You look at the marks there in turn 4. He did a heck of a job not hitting the wall. I mean, you're looking at the black mark and you go, there's no way that car's not catching the fence, and somehow he kept it out of the wall at the exit of turn 4. And again, this is a self-cleaning racetrack. It's banked all the way around, so you're liable to, hey, I missed the outside wall. Hell.
Oh, Logano got loose. He almost got up. Oh, he did tag the wall. Laura Beth, our director up here, telling us this. So Logano now, you look at the right rear of that car, and you can see the rear bumper, the right rear bumper, and that car is wickedly loose there in turn 2. So this is not going to be a good starting spot for Logano. In fact, they're probably going to have to work on the car, which would relegate him to the rear of the field for the start anyway.
So Joey Logano, 29th. So why not work on it? Because you're already in the back.
Yeah, you're going to have to. 29th out of the 30 cars that have gone out. We have 9 to go here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Alex Bowman, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs, A.J. Allmendinger, your top 5 fastest in qualifying for the Food City 500.
This is Kyle Petty for Echo Park Automotive. As you might imagine, I know a thing or two about cars, and I'm here to tell you about a whole new way to buy a car, truck, or SUV. Did you know that Echo Park Automotive has over 95,000 5-star reviews? On top of that, every car that Echo Park Automotive sells goes through a 190-point inspection to make sure that it looks and drives like new, so you leave happy. It's even in their name, Echo Park Automotive. Every car, happy owner. The official used car dealer of Speedway Motorsports.
It's not about the cars, the speed, the action. It's not about the party or the long weekend. It's about them. The ones that gave everything. This Memorial Day weekend, we honor the fallen at America's Home for Racing. The 66th running of the Coca-Cola 600.
9 cars to go in qualifying for the Food City 500 from Bristol Motor Speedway. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
On the inside, Byron in the middle, Chastain up high.
Hamlin now beginning to come to the front. He's got the edge now. He'll take the lead away.
Brian Blaney sliding down into the grass. There was a lot of bumping and grinding, and Blaney noses into the infield retaining wall.
Ross Chastain doing a great job. Truex right there, big in his mirror as they race down the backstretch here. Harrison Burton is spinning down the back straightaway. straightaway. Everybody going to the top side. Here comes Kyle Larson. Larson dives to the bottom of the racetrack. He wants to lead all four. Chris Buescher has trouble.
And a spin off of turn 4.
Yeah, we've got a ton of cars that are in this one, and Larson is certainly one of those cars.
Trouble coming out of turn 4. Hamlin is sideways. The car spins down on the apron of the racetrack.
Byron takes that brightly painted number 24 to the front. He gets a big shove from Daniel Suarez.
This is PRN.
All right, we're late in qualifying here at Bristol Motor Speedway, and two champions of this sport, two multi-time titleists have had trouble. Joey Logano caught a piece of the wall in qualifying. Kyle Busch spun out. Joey, I just saw you breaking down, looking at the damage on the right rear, and then talking to Travis Geisler at Penske about it. Joey, what did you see out there? What happened?
Yeah, just you're pushing hard trying to make a fast lap, and I got it turned pretty good. And I got a little bit down on that apron there, and it kind of shoved me up. I kind of got free, and then once I corrected it once, I got into the looser stuff and just
We heard Daniel Suarez say how unpredictable it was out there. Was this a case of unpredictability as well, along with trying to get too much?
Yeah, I mean, it's the last few times we've qualified here at the Next Gen car, it's been pretty sketchy to say the least, and it bit me.
Joey Logano here, a former winner, is going to have to do so from the back as they have to do some crash damage repair on that double deuce there for Team Penske.
All right, thank you very much, Doug Turnbull. Appreciate that. Austin Cindric, his teammate, in the white snap-on paint scheme here this weekend. 17th quick for him.
And he had to jump out of the gas at the exit of turn 4 on lap number 2, or he was heading for the safer barrier. On the racetrack now, our comrade from last night in the booth, Ross Chastain. We've talked about the struggles of Trackhouse racing so far in qualifying today. Let's see if Ross can do something different.
Yeah, Ross Chastain under the green with that Trackhouse Busch Light flannel Chevrolet for him. Really cool flannel paint scheme on that car. Very creative with everything that they've done this year. But the biggest thing, Ross knows the car looks good. Will it qualify well? And that is the tough thing for him. Yeah, white flag is out. That means one more lap to go. Right now, he's 29th out of 32 cars that have gone for Chastain, and I don't know that this one looks much better. He has a handful out there here late in qualifying, so Chastain will now take the checkered flag, and he moves up one spot. 28th quick, just in front of teammate Shane Van Gisbergen.
The back of that car was dancing around quite a bit for Ross Chastain, so he brought it back in one piece, and that's about all you can say about that qualifying effort.
Former winner here at Bristol Motor Speedway, that would be Texan Chris Buescher, who is on the track right now. He's got the Build Submarines paint scheme this weekend on his RFK number 17. And Chris Buescher definitely fast here at this track. But the big question, how fast is he going to be here in qualifying today? Vastly different situation here than what we had when we were here back in the fall. Much more similar to what we had last spring, what we're seeing so far here, at least today, now that the temperature, by the way, is 51 degrees, Mark, so a little bit warmer.
Buescher 20th on his opening lap. He's been top 10 qualifier 3 times so far this season. And here is Buescher working at turn 4. He's out of the gas. That will not be better than lap number 1. So his first lap is the fast lap for Buescher, currently in the 20th spot. And at this point, we've had 33 cars qualify, still to go. Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, William Byron, Denny Hamlin. Alex Bowman, the 10th car out. So that means that we've had 23 cars take a shot, and they have all missed Alex Bowman.
Well, I'll tell you this, though. If Ty Gibbs is going to start in the top 10, we're about to find out right now because he could lock himself into it. He is sitting in 4th, and with the amount of cars left to go, if Chase Elliott's not faster, then Ty Gibbs will get at least that for his top 10 starting spot. And Chase Elliott now taking the white flag. Not sure what this lap is going to look like. It's 17th quick.
Again, he went up out of the groove just a bit in turns 3 and 4, kind of diamond just a bit, had to jump out of the gas a little more than he'd like. And again, that car goes up the racetrack. I don't think he's going to like that at all. Don't think it will be an improvement. And indeed, it is not. 17th for Chase Elliott.
Yeah, so Ty Gibbs, as you had mentioned earlier, looking for his first top 10 starting spot. That is going to happen. We just don't know where. Right now he is fourth behind Kyle Larson, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Alex Bowman. Ryan Blaney, he was second quick in overall speed in practice from Group 2 earlier. He's on the track now, Mark.
We could have an interesting top 10 tomorrow. Currently, it's Bowman, Stenhouse, Larson, Gibbs, Allmendinger, top 5. Next 5, Hocevar, Haley, Barry, Dillon, Ty Dillon, Michael McDowell.
Wow, that would be pretty interesting. 2 Spire cars in the top 10 at this point. But what does Ryan Blaney have to say about it? That number 12, Penske, it goes up to 7th quick on the speed chart. Will he stay out for another lap? Jonathan Hassler says yes. Go for it, Ryan Blaney. Let's see if you have more. I think that's a bit risky at this point, but why not? You take every spot you can get. You race everywhere, as Ryan Blaney's former crew chief Todd Gordon has said, and it worked. 4th quick.
He goes to 14.955. So at this point, we have had 5 drivers crack under 15 seconds. That, of course, Bowman, Stenhouse, Larson, Blaney, and Gibbs, just missing Allmendinger at a 15.002.
Tyler Reddick is on the track right now. He has not had very much success in the next-gen era when it comes to Bristol Motor Speedway, but we know that he can be fast anywhere and hoping to turn that around here this weekend. 2311 Racing, Toyota Camry. Ooh, a little wiggle there coming off of turn number 2. This is a green flag lap for Tyler Reddick. Let's see how much that affected him and if he actually goes for that second lap. So lap number 1 for the 45, 24th quick, Mark.
His teammate Bubba Wallace was 20th, and he will shut it down. It got very loose in between turns 1 and 2, so Reddick out of the gas, and he will be currently listed in the 24th position. So 2311 Racing, Wallace currently in the 20th spot. Then you have the 24th spot for Tyler Reddick. Riley Herbst just ahead of him in 23rd.
All right, Christopher Bell, we heard from him earlier, and Christopher Bell already a 3-time winner here this year, and he brings that Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota out there onto this half-mile Bristol Motor Speedway. This is the world's fastest half-mile. We're about to find out how fast it is as we have 2 more cars left to go, William Byron and Denny Hamlin after Christopher Bell. So Bell on the track right now. His car looks smooth, and right now that seems like a good thing compared to what we've seen with the last handful of drivers.
Gets a good run out of turn number 4. Will he be able to take Bowman out of the top spot? No, but he does crack the top 10 at 14.986. He's currently number 6 in the running order.
All right, Christopher Bell now. Let's see if he can improve his position on lap number 2 here. He'll take the checkered flag, and he actually goes quicker, but he does not improve his position. 6 quick, 14.969. So now the top 6 cars sub 15 seconds on the track. William Byron, as we mentioned earlier, was actually in the bottom 6 in practice earlier. Can he turn that around? We've seen drivers do it, like Josh Berry, who's currently sitting in 10th. He was bottom 3, and he found more speed.
Willie B knows how to get it done in qualifying this year. 7.6 his average starting position. 6 times out of 8 races, he's been top 10. Can he crack the top 10, number 1? Number 2, can he beat his... And no, he is out of shape.
Wow.
Wow, big time. And that is going to certainly not only hurt the opening lap, it's going to certainly damage that second lap as well for William Byron. He stays in the gas as he works his way down to the start-finish line. Byron's first lap, 32nd out of 38 cars, and his second lap is going to move him up only to 25th.
I don't know how he didn't wreck that car in turn number 4, Mark. He had a handful. The fronts were sliding, the rears were sliding, and he just tried to stay in the gas as much as he could, but it wasn't much.
At that point, he's going, okay, I got to keep momentum to try to do better on the second lap. And I'm like you, total credit for not wrecking and then going like, well, I better make the best of this and stay at the gas the best I can.
All right, here we go. Can the pole be taken away from Alex Bowman? If it can, it's going to come from the Progressive Insurance Toyota of Denny Hamlin, last year's winner of the Food City 500. That number 11 is on the track after 2 consecutive wins on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. Let's see if he can back up Martinsville and Darlington with the first place spot here at Bristol. Right now, 4th quick on the speed chart. And Chris Gale says, shut her down, Denny.
Congratulations, Alex Bowman. Bowman will win the pole position, his 7th career pole position, and his first in 2025.
Alex Bowman will start on the pole tomorrow. Joining him on the front row from Hayek Motorsports, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Kyle Larson will start 3rd. 4th will be Denny Hamlin. 5th, Ryan Blaney. And as we'll give you the rest of the rundown as we now go down to Doug Turnbull.
He was fastest in practice, and here he is, or fastest in one of the groups of practice, and here he is, outside pole sitter Ricky Stenhouse Jr. You mentioned here when the sun came out, lined it up with your sponsor, Sunny D there. How did you feel in that qualifying lap? And was it a surprising run for this Hayek team that's struggled with speed sometimes?
It's not a surprising run here at Bristol's one of my favorite racetrack, and we've worked really hard at trying to find speed, and we have some ideas to what makes some speed, and it's cool to see it pay off this weekend. So the boys did a great job with our Sunny D Camaro, and man, it's cool to have 3 Hendrick cars, powered cars on the top 3 spots. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Obviously, tire wear is going to be an issue, and we're going to have to play, a big factor in how this race goes. But I felt like we were good at managing tires last year. It just, it just depends on, how the race is called and, with yellows and things like that. But all in all, a really good start to our weekend. Something that we've been needing to work on is qualifying. We tend to race a little bit better than where we've qualified. So great starting spot for sure.
It's a very good starting spot with the 2nd position there for Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Thank you very much, Doug. We appreciate that. Let's go down to Andrew Curlin.
Yeah, Alex Bowman won the pole here last fall, and you're on the pole again here at Bristol. How much pride is there in the 48 team to start in the front of the field?
Yeah, definitely thankful to Blake and all the guys for giving me a fast race car, and proud of our Ally 48 team. It's been a rough 2 weeks, and obviously losing John this week was rough on everybody. So thinking about everybody that's super close to him, and want to dedicate this to him, obviously. And hopefully we can have a great race tomorrow. I think tire management stuff kind of suits our wheelhouse a little bit. If it ends up doing that tomorrow again, it's been a bit inconsistent and hard to pinpoint why that stuff happens here. But we'll wait and see.
Alex Bowman on the pole here at Bristol, dedicating this one to John Edwards, who passed away earlier this week.
Thank you very much, Andrew Curlin. We appreciate that. And, of course, John Edwards, if you don't know him, if you've not heard his name before, he was the longtime public relations representative for Jeff Gordon. And I almost hate to just classify him as that because he was so much more for Jeff Gordon in his entire career. With Hendrick Motorsports, was with Kyle Larson coming back into NASCAR, Mark. Very well admired, very well thought of. And, again, if when you look at anyone who's done that position, he was the best of the best.
He certainly was, and that was a major loss this week. Al Pierce, longtime writer out of Newport News, Virginia. I think he was 50-plus years writing stories about NASCAR. We lost him. And Shige Hattori, the Craftsman Truck Series owner, also. It's been a tough week for NASCAR. 3 very popular people inside the sport are gone, and we certainly want to give our best to their families, their friends. We're thinking about them. We're praying for them.
Yeah, very much so. Well, Alex Bowman, great way to sort of turn things around there at Hendrick Motorsports and honor John Edwards with the pole starting spot for the Food City 500. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. will join him on the front row. Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin will be in row number 2. Ryan Blaney, Ty Gibbs in row number 3. Christopher Bell and A.J. Allmendinger will start in row number 4. Spire teammates Carson Hosevar and Justin Haley round out the top 10.
Josh Berry was 11th, then 12th. I think one of the big surprises in qualifying, Ty Dillon, the slowest car in practice, pops out again outside of row number 6. Michael McDowell, Spire Motorsports, solid effort there, 13th. 14th, Chase Briscoe. Kyle Busch, 15th. However, on his second lap, he nearly spun all the way around, did about a half spin, but certainly took the goodie off those tires. That will certainly be a problem for them tomorrow. 16th, Brad Keselowski. 17th, Austin Dillon. 18th, Zane Smith. Jesse Love making his debut in the 19th starting position. Chase Elliott, 20th.
21st will be Austin Cindric. Bubba Wallace will start 22nd. 23rd, Daniel Suarez. Chris Buescher will start 24th. Riley Herbst will start 25th. William Byron, 26th. 27th will be Tyler Reddick. Eric Jones will start 28th. 29th, Ryan Preece. And 30th, Todd Gilliland.
Noah Gragson, 31st. 32nd, John Hunter Nemechek. Cole Custer, 33rd. Cody Ware, 34th. Then it's Ross Chastain, 35th. His teammate Shane Van Gisbergen in 36th. 37th, Corey LaJoie. Joey Logano, 38th. 39th, Josh Bilicki.
We will be back on the air less than 30 minutes from now for the NASCAR Xfinity Series SciAps 300 here at Bristol Motor Speedway. So be sure and tune in at 4:30 Eastern Time. Then tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern Time, the Food City 500 NASCAR Cup Series race. Want to thank our broadcast crew here today, our pit reporters Doug Turnbull and Andrew Curlin, engineers Harold Hamrick, Bill Parrott, and Ben Blevins, our director Laura Beth Barnhart, sales and marketing Jerry Horn, Alexis Erickson, Hank Lee, Barry Roach, David Stiles, and Caleb Whistler. Production is Ken Bernhardt. For Mark Garrow, my name is Brad Gilley. Congratulations to Alex Bowman and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for their front row starting spots for tomorrow's Food City 500.
We are live in around 1 hour, 10 p.m. British Summer Time for the NASCAR Xfinity race round Bristol Motor Speedway. I think JB wants to join the broadcast, so I will bring him on. Hold on, let me get the microphones all sorted out. If they are all sorted out, and we should be able to bring JB on because he looks very, very eager in the Discord channel that we are in. JB, speak.
What's going on here? What are you
Hello,
doing?
welcome JB.
Hello.
Looking forward to the NASCAR Xfinity later?
Yes, I'm looking forward to watching it. You, Matthew, and Jack, while I cover IMSA. A little switch around to save my dying voice. It's going to be a good race. Trucks was interesting yesterday.
Didn't rain?
Did not rain. It was supposed to, and now it's dry today as well, so you're going to have a nice time. But if it does rain, you've got wet tyres.
Yeah, absolutely amazing indeed. Thank you, JB, for that 30 seconds of fame. As you can join us at 10 p.m, as I mentioned, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Me on the call with Matthew Owens from USRN and Jack from JBM as well. And for the Cup Series, you can join us tomorrow at 7:30 with an 8:11 p.m. green flag. We hope you join us for the NASCAR Xfinity Series later on in around 55 minutes time. We'll see you then.